This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here, me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Chilling. Ready to do some legendary audio. We've got so much of a packed show that once again, the One Nation Radio Awards have been moved. But unlike other weeks, it has all been counted and ready to go. And I found out a slightly quicker way to count them this year.
All right.
Like
yeah, man. Like, it is
using
packed.
the sheets form and
like,
all that.
Bro, think of it this way. I almost hit you up today and was like, should we run tomorrow? Because, like, then we could then talk about, like, the Muto retirement show that's going to happen in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's pretty packed. It's pretty packed, like, these last few days. So, yeah.
Man.
So, we'll end up giving y'all a midweek show for the award show. So, check out for that later in the week. But yeah, man, let's get into it. I guess we should start with elimination. There's a lot of talk around it. A lot of people, a lot of people were upset with this one.
But before we get into deconstructing all this shit, we also will have the interview with Kenny Omega that I did on the Swerve City podcast on the feed, the One Nation Radio feed this week.
Friday, right?
Yeah, we'll put it up Friday. Give you guys something to roll with in the weekend and all that, and kind of basking in the afterglow of that. Got a lot of great feedback on it. And it was, I feel like I represented myself well, the show well. And, there was just like, it was a really cool experience. I talked about it last week, but hope everyone, has checked it out. The numbers are doing great. Definitely newsworthy. If you guys haven't seen some of the stuff that's kind of floating out there, Reddit's all over it, the news sites are all over it, so pretty happy with that. James, did you happen to hear the whole interview?
Not the whole interview. I pressed pause on it after y'all started going into talking about getting out of the wrestling, getting into Marvel movies, because that would be spoilers territory for me, because I have not watched any of the stuff, so I had to stop right there. I don't know at this point where you get back to it, but
there's some talk about the video game after that, and then at the very end, Kenny starts talking about rap, which is hilarious.
Interesting. I never thought for a second that Kenny Omega listened to rap.
Same.
Yeah. So
Same.
yeah. Interesting. But yeah, man. I thought that it was. I thought it was great. I thought that you have somehow figured out a way to get Kenny Omega to talk about the continuing Will Ospreay stuff, which I thought was whenever they you might end up fuck around and be on the Forbidden Door video package right package. Yes, ask the questions and but is Kenny but is he smart? And then people sit there that's a good question. And they'd be like, who's the motherfucker to ask whether or not Will Ospreay was smart or not? Oh, that's Rich Latta of One Nation Radio. Social Suplex Network. Check it out. See you in there, you next to Kenny, and then it says courtesy of Swerve City Podcast. I mean, that's a possibility.
It could be. I could be in the VTR. You know, however they want to play it.
Yeah, Pop was definitely stirred.
CTC for the image and likeness.
I thought that the one thing that I saw get clipped up a lot was you asking Kenny Omega to kind of expound on his thoughts on the time he talked about like the outright just bigotry that a lot of the Joshi performers have faced. So I thought it was really good. Just because it's like we see it. As people that cover Joshi wrestling and see some of the stuff people talk about, it's like it has nothing to do with like whether or not someone's had a good match or like what storyline they're in or what direction they're headed towards. That's some other shit that has nothing to do with this. And like it's so like it's been frustrating for us for a while, especially you pointed out like you always the line you always use vile racism, and he's saying
vile racism every single time.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was important. And like especially because it's like it's Kenny Omega and it's like not if he's not going to say anything, not many people are. So like I think for him to say that as like like the biggest Japanese star that we have from North America, like I think it's a big deal. Or since like Vader or Stan Hansen or whatever the fuck, but you get my point. Like of the last like few years, like he's the biggest one. So I think that's I thought that was necessary, and I thought it was really cool. I also like hearing how like TZ and Swerve were like, yeah, this motherfucker be talking our ear off about Joshi, and I'm like, I was unaware, but that's funny. But yeah, man, I thought it was a really good podcast, and like. Kenny Omega's really good at these. Like, I've never heard one from him anywhere where I'm never, like, interested in the things he has to say. Because he's really thoughtful. He's not just, like, it doesn't feel like he's just giving you a non-answer, just get out of it. Which
right.
you can feel when any wrestler does one of these podcasts. Any person that's any notoriety. So, like, I thought that, like, he was really there and actually, like, was, like, wanting to play ball. So yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, for people that were wondering what Kenny was looking at, we had these highlight reels playing on the screen. Like we all were kind of taking turns looking at it, but it was like PWG different highlights, and all the cool move highlights and all these spots and everything like that. So like I could tell his mind was working, like watching that stuff. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like trying to just always study and kind of multitask and all that. But
how you gonna turn that into a V trigger?
Right, exactly. But yeah, it was a great time, and definitely had fun. Glad everyone that's checked it out so far. So if you guys didn't watch the video, or if you don't feel like doing the YouTube thing, you need to speed it up. You need to listen to it at 1.75, in your podcast app. I mean, you can do it on YouTube too. Like I said, we'll have it later this week. So
that's
really
a confession I need to make,
moment,
right? So like. I didn't know how it was launching when it happened. Then I saw, I was like, oh, okay, you guys put it as if it's like a live video, and then like you got to watch it at the end, it'll be up or whatever else. So like, I was just looking to the podcast feed in my podcast app. I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh, this thing, y'all haven't really like, or Swerve haven't really like put up anything recently from like compared to what's actually on the YouTube. So I was like, okay, I'll just wait. And then like, so I'm going to download that link and turn it straight into an MP3 and then put it into my podcast app and then start listening that way. So like I heard like you mentioned like I ended up seeing what it was, but like there were like sound effects, but I realized that was when like whenever a topic was up, they were showing like on the video like whatever the topic was at hand. So I thought it was cool. Like, so what was that setup like, actually? Like, as far as, like, behind the camera setup, like, who was all involved in that? Or how many people were involved in that?
It was our dude, Sai. So Sai was handling, like, like kind of a manual handheld, and then there was like a hard cam, if you will, like that was in the corner.
Mhm.
So like we didn't really have any direction to look at the camera or anything like that. It was like, it just catch the eye on us, and if we wanted to like make a point, we'd look at the camera or something like that.
Lots of memes.
Yeah,
I saw one in particular of you.
Somebody had screen capped me like saying, and they were like, you knew exactly what you was doing when you was doing those Wrestle Kingdom questions.
You were.
But yeah, it's there's probably a lot of memes to be captured in that if you comb through it.
Gotta be. I remember the one when it was you. It was you and oh my god, from Street Profits.
Angelo.
Yeah, you and Angelo Dawkins, the one where you basically lean from the back and you're like. So yeah, I remember that one in particular. So every time, I guess that's the thing. Anytime you're on that show and like just get ready to get,
gotta be memed up,
all that kind of stuff.
Got to be memed up, but. Yeah, man. So, I like the whole thing was like making me consider like, damn, like maybe I should interview more people. Maybe I, maybe we can add that in somehow. So I don't know, but it was a lot of good feedback, and a lot of the Kenny Omega like that I know that are on Twitter. That like
you say Kenny Omega maniacs? Is that what you call them?
Nah.
Oh, okay. I was saying because you froze for a second. I was like, wait, did he say Kenny Maniacs?
Shit. So they felt like I was representing them, and that was pretty cool to hear. So
well, you were.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So like I said, it was cool. So yeah, man. I guess we should get to the shits.
All right. So. Elimination Chamber on Saturday night. Montreal, Canada. Incredible crowd. I think it should be noted. I think it should be noted at the start of it. Michael Cole says like this is the first like pay-per-view in Montreal since the '97 Survivor Series, and then you see what happened at the end of the show with the finish, and you're like. That was rather that seemed to be a bit ominous in retrospect, but I thought overall, that this was a really good show. The wrestling was really good throughout the show. All 5 matches.
Brewhaven brings up a great point. They are lying about that. No Way Out 2003 was in Montreal, and I remember watching that.
Okay. So yeah, well it's WWE. They lie. It happens.
Of course.
Like I guarantee you, like something like actually like important happened on that show, and you're just like, never mind that, forget that shit.
Yeah, they did Rock versus Hulk Hogan on that show. The return match from the WrestleMania match.
Beautiful,
if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe I misheard it. Maybe they were like, this is the first one in a long time.
You know what?
And I don't know.
That was a really stacked card, by the way. I'm going to.
Well, I mean, it was 2003. It was post, it's invasion, post invasion stuff. So yeah, like, them cards had tons of, stars. Like 03, 05 was like loaded.
Okay, so The Rock defeated Hulk Hogan with all the interference in the main event. Stone Cold Steve Austin returned from walking out on the promotion in the semi-main event
after the Brock stuff.
Yep, by beating Eric Bischoff. Triple H versus Scott Steiner.
No. They had a Bischoff Hogan match.
No, they had a Bischoff-Austin match.
Oh, Bischoff-Austin. Okay.
Yeah, I think...
That's also stupid, but...
I think Austin just beat the shit out of him and stunned him. It was like 4 minutes. So they had Triple H versus Scott Steiner for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Was that the match after like the like all of the back and forth with like the arm wrestling and like the pose off and all that stuff?
That might have been for the Royal Rumble match, but they did 2 months in a row with this match.
Okay.
It's a handicap match. Brock Lesnar and Chris Benoit defeating Team Angle. So Angle, Haas, and Benjamin, and I believe Angle like did not work much in it because he was nursing like that neck, and the reason Benoit was involved was because he was an alternate or something should they not be able to do the championship storyline. And Benoit was also involved with Angle the month before in that match at Royal Rumble 03. Undertaker defeated the Big Show. Matt Hardy defeated Billy Kidman. William Regal and Lance Storm beat Kane and RVD. Jericho beats Jeff Hardy. So, like, that whole show does not exist.
Yeah. Especially, it's funny because, like, that's a lot of that is that locker room when they show that, every 2 months when, like, someone talks about, like, how loaded the WWE rosters used to be, and they show that whole locker room thing with the fold out from that WWE magazine. Like, that's a lot of the motherfuckers you mentioned. So, yeah. For them to be out here pretending that shit didn't matter. But then again, they act like ruthless aggression didn't matter because they still wanted to be the Attitude Era. So there is something to that.
Men in Black flashy thing.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I thought, like, the Montreal crowd was crazy. And, like, every time they ever go to Montreal for Raws or SmackDowns, they're always great. And, like, I thought that, like, wrestling-wise in the ring, aside from the main event, like, the roster went out there and, did their thing. To a level like you really see on main roster shows. Obviously, you have the finishes and some of the, like, constant interference throughout all these matches, or the amount of interference, like, back to back to back on some of these matches. Like, there's only, like, one match on this whole entire show that, like, was just clean, and that was the opener. But I thought that, like, I don't can't remember last time I had a WWE main event or pay-per-view show where it's like, every single thing I would say was good. Like, at the worst, good. So, and I thought, the two chamber matches were, great or really damn, or kick ass at the worst. So yeah, I thought this was a very good WWE main event pay-per-view show. So, the main event, I hate this stuff, all the stuff that's all around it, but, like, it felt like WCW in that sense, where it's like, this is a lot of really good stuff, and then, like, the worst matches being the main event. Yeah. What were your thoughts on the show?
So I was watching it in, like, kind of a party atmosphere, so it was really kind of, like, hard to, like, zone in on everything that was happening. I'm not as high on the women's chamber as you are. I thought it was kind of laid out weird where Asuka, like, comes in at the end and everyone else was kind of left to work the match. But, they did a couple things towards the end of the match where it picked up more, because I thought the beginning it started out real slow. But the Bobby Lashley and Brock thing was absolutely, like, ridiculous. I was like, this doesn't make sense. I was like, this brought, like, Brock Lesnar's the babyface and he kicks him in the dick, but everyone's cheering. I'm like, you got fucked and he's the babyface. Like, what is happening?
And he left them laying.
Yep. The mixed tag match, not really many memories of that, but, Beth Phoenix and Edge getting together is always, like, kind of fun. I was puzzled at the decision to make Rhea Ripley lose.
She didn't get pinned. It was Balor.
Yeah, she didn't get pinned, but constant interference from Dominic.
Yep.
The U.S. title match, that was really good. They were doing a bunch of shit, but I was, like, just watching the booking the whole time. Every time Montez Ford would eliminate someone, I was like, well, he about to be out next. And then I was like, okay, they're doing the thing, but it was good to see him get a little focus. In Austin Theory's, we're gonna talk about him, but yeah, that main event, and I'll wait till we get there.
Yeah. So let's go through it. Women's Elimination Chamber match. You have Asuka in there, Liv Morgan, Natalia, Raquel Rodriguez. I'm still struggling not to call her Gonzalez. Carmella, and I'm blanking on whoever the sixth person was. I mentioned
Liv Morgan.
I mentioned Liv.
Nikki Cross.
That's right, Nikki Loon. Yeah, that's right. So, they end up starting with Liv and Natalia, and I thought what they did was actually pretty well built to, like, have a big, layout until Carmella comes in. And I thought that, like, the way it was laid out, and I thought that the camera work especially was, like, really good. And it just shows you, like, when you have to put a camera operator or two camera operators in the cages to catch all the action, and they don't have the option to cut to 5 different camera shots that, like, you can get get a still actual look at what the hell's happening, as opposed to, like, cut between all the hits and action. I thought it was really enjoyable. And I thought that like everybody, you see the people that are out there and you only trust really Natalya and Asuka. And I thought like starting with Natalya in there and Asuka coming in last and then seeing how everybody worked out. And then like, Raquel gets in there and like lays everybody out with the power and everything. I thought it was a really well put together match. And they also did high spots and it was all worked really well. The crowd was really into it. They were getting this awesome chance. I don't think it was necessarily awesome like it's some 4.5 star match or anything, but it was fun while it was going on, or really good while it was going on. And then by the end you get Asuka in. I think she came in last, and she's basically, it's her and it's whoever else are putting waste or laying waste to Raquel with kicks. They double eliminate her, and then Asuka ends up winning by the end. And I thought that like Asuka came out first, the crowd was super into her. She was like, it was like when she came out the Rumble where they're hot for her. They love the face paint. They love the adapted music, updated music that's very similar to her old music. She's hot again. I don't know what happened other than the face paint and the newer look, but nice touch up. And I thought for sure she was going to go out there and get pinned by Raquel. And when she won, I was pleasantly surprised, and like I'm so happy that I'm going to be able to see like Raquel versus Asuka. I'm sorry, Bianca versus Asuka at WrestleMania, because I was thinking like we got to get Raquel versus Bianca, and that's not doing anything for Bianca. I'm sorry.
I said I definitely thought some bullshit was on deck. Like it's been a long time since Bianca's really had an opponent worth a damn. Start going through that title reign, and it's been struggle to get an exciting matchup for her. I thought Asuka was awesome when she came in, and I'm going to make history on One Nation Radio here. I thought Liv Morgan did something cool in this match.
Yeah, she was good in the match. Match. The worst person in the match was probably either Nikki or Carmella, but even Carmella and Nikki were decent.
Yep. So, I would probably go like 3.5 on it or something, but I thought there was some rough stuff in the beginning, but ultimately it doesn't matter. I think they got the best booking decision out of that. Yeah.
Same here. I was waiting on Asuka to miss somebody, like probably Carmella, but never happened. But whatever, she doesn't have to use it all the time. But when she pulls it out and miss Bianca, it's gonna be interesting. Next match after that, you end up getting Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And the video package of this thing was awesome. It looked like a WrestleMania video package. And Bobby Lashley comes out and he's on the pedestal thing with all the rippling muscles, and like they got the laser lights in the air on him, and like this is why this man will always be pushed. So he comes out, and then that Brock music starts and the crowd goes banana.
Honorary Canadian.
Yeah. That's right. And like it had to fit. It came out there and like the crowd was expecting like, what they saw, and like for the beginning of the match or all the action in the match, like perfect Hoss smash and them throwing each other around, spearing the shit out of each other. I think they maybe did one too many F5 kickouts, but by the time they go to the third one, Lashley slides to the back, gets the hurt lock, and like they're doing the Kenny Hulk Hogan muscle power up and muscle through, ultimately can't, and Brock takes the easy way out and low blows from behind and in front of the ref, and the ref DQs Brock, obviously, and then from there, Brock just lays waste to Lashley and then F5s him on the table, and then he beats the shot to the ref, and then F5s the ref on like the knockdown table, and I don't get why they can just have someone win here. I don't know. I don't get it. But like, I did enjoy the action, and like, it's been a really long time since I've been into one of these Brock Lesnar finishing spam matches. And I was into this one. It did what it needed to do for me until the stupid finish.
I checked out on these Brock Lesnar matches from probably like 2020 forward, and this is no different as far as these sub 5 minute finisher spam matches. I'm good. Horrible finish. And I just think they robbed everyone pretty much, and maybe they'll run it back again, but okay, they left us holding the bag. So, nothing here. The one thing that is funny though, people were mentioning that Bray Wyatt had called out the winner. So, maybe Brock Lesnar in his, ever, so great mind for the business
candidacy already. Like
that man saying there will be no winner.
I beat his ass, and he goes on and faces the clown.
I'll avoid facing Bray Wyatt at all costs.
I mean, he's already done that before. So, yeah. Think of how little Brock Lesnar how little he respects another wrestler for him to get paid all that kind of money. Knows he gonna beat the shit out of this person and says, I don't want to waste my time beating the shit out of him. I don't want to do this.
Ain't no money in that.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
But I feel like Lashley and Lesnar should be. It feels like a proxy for so much more, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean?
You got the big white gorilla, and then you got Bobby Lashley across from him. So it's a lot of big muscles, a lot of big big testosterone. It seems like there should be a culture war going on here. If this was boxing, James, I think you would know what I'm saying.
Okay. So I guess I wasn't listening hard enough because I thought you meant Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar. I was like, wait, what?
No, I was talking about Bobby Lashley.
My bad. My bad. That's on me. Yeah, I get what you mean. Look, that finish definitely has something to do with that. I'll let him win, but because I cheated and then I'll beat his ass at the end. I think at one point you also pointed out to me he's never done a job to a black person either. So
I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore, but there's no way someone has beat like black wrestlers beat Brock Lesnar clean 1, 2, 3 after using their finishing move. I can almost guarantee that's never happened.
Yeah. I mean, he's not really jobbing to many people anyway, but just,
true.
Yeah,
which makes it more likely.
Right. Like when I found out Booker T had beat Goldberg, I was like, wait, when did that happen? I was like, where that happened. But so after that we end up getting the mixed tag match. You have Edge and Beth Phoenix that go by the branded name of the Grit Couple, which that is something they should let Michael Cole call them. Almost
it's always worse when they adopt the joke. That's a nickname, not a real name.
Right. That's like an internet meme joke as a play on the part where Edge you talk about grit all the goddamn time. Not hey, it'd be a good idea. Let's actually call them that. Let's if it works well enough, we'll put it on a t-shirt or on coffee mugs. No.
Seamus Nova, this month has been downhill since Mac McClung won the slam dunk contest.
Hey man, we ain't talking about that Mac McClung. That man won that shit fair and square.
That man came out there and did it for real. That man got a clean social media record. I have no problem with Mac McClung. I don't know about Black History Month, but I damn sure know about Mac History Month going on right now.
Mac History Month. So man, do we have the official call on what that last one was? It was a 540, but was it a 540 double windmill or just a single windmill? I only saw it once.
It was a double windmill.
Okay, so a 540 double windmill. Bruh, I was like, that shit was incredible. And when I watched him and everything is off the first is executed off the first one. He's practiced all of these. He's well within his wheelhouse of doing all this stuff. He's doing everything off 2 feet. My thought was this is like watching white Jason Richardson in a dunk contest. That's what everything was super clean and everything was off 2 feet. Shout out to him. He did it.
Matt McClung's trying to say the dunk contest single-handedly out here.
Yeah.
We need somebody to do it.
Shit.
Saving All-Star Weekend, goddammit.
When I saw that lineup, Buddy from the Knicks and McClung, I knew they were great dunkers, but it's they're not stars. And I'm just when are we gonna get somebody that's at least a John Morant or something like that, right? And it just didn't happen, unfortunately. But at least they put on a show. You put on a show. Like for me, with NBA All-Star Weekend now at this point, like I'll just go to Twitter or YouTube, watch it real quick, and then move on instead of, because, there were certain years where like they get multiple chances to fuck up their dunks and finally do it. And I was like, I was done. I was done sitting there wasting my time actually watching live. I was just like, come back to it and watch all in like, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But, yeah, man. Shout out to him. Moving back to this, Mac History Month. That was a bar. That was a fucking bar. But yeah, like you end up getting, Edge and I almost said Britt. Beth Phoenix versus Judgment Day, Finn Balor and, Rhea Ripley. I gotta say, man, like, he's done this before. He's been doing it for a while now, but like, I would actually like think like the concept of like the Daft Punk thing that Finn Balor's been doing is actually look kind of cool. Like it's a cool aesthetic and a decent change from like when he used to come out and he's only thing. What's his personality? He has a jacket. Like, so it's a nice little change up of the look.
I just look at them and I see the ballers from GTA San Andreas. Like,
because it's purple and black.
Because it's purple, yeah. Like I'm like, well, you're not allowed to wear blue or red, so y'all just the ballers out here.
Something tells me they don't have those particular rules because like you got Bloodline wearing black and red all the goddamn time like they death row. But yeah, I don't think they're exactly worried about Finn Balor being the head of a fucking gang, even fictional. But yeah, man. Match happens. Believe they start with Beth and Rhea, and like, hey man, they start off, and they was in there hidden. I don't know if you could really tell that by like where you were. Yeah. Because I know he was part of, bro, they was in there hidden. And when I mean they was in there hidden, I was like, hey bro, send them. I need to send them to Stardom and come run with Mecca and Micah real quick. Like I was enjoying. They was beating the shit out of each other, locking up heavy, hard, everything. And then obviously you have a bunch of interference from Dominic. Dominic's getting so much heat that like is actually distracting from the match at points. They got to try to figure out a way to recalibrate it. Obviously, he keeps cheating. Eventually, during the match, they get Beth in there fighting from underneath, and she goes for a tag to get out because she's so desperate to get out. And Balor, bad camera work this time. They catch Balor sneak under the ring, like underneath the apron, and so he's about to go, diagonally and then pull Edge off before Beth can make the tag. That happened. They get more heat on Beth. Dominic comes back, gets more heat. Eventually, Edge runs him off for like up the entrance. But yeah, man, like eventually Edge gets his hot tag. Him and Balor go wild. This was really good. And then they start doing like combo tandem stuff, tandem big moves to each other. And eventually Dominic comes back. He tries to interfere. They end up getting foiled this time, and that leads to Judgment Day's demise. Edge ends up beating Balor with, I believe, his like remix version of the Sharpshooter, Executioner, I think it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, really enjoyed the match. I thought it was like 3.5 star match, and quite frankly, like, that's where you need to put Edge consistently. Like, you go back to, like, when he had that match with Rey Mysterio. I think it was at Clash of the Castle. Like, he has figured out, like, he can't do singles ain't in him no more. It's tags. And, like, Beth looked great. Like, Beth looked great in the match. Beth, every time she's been back since then, she's looked pretty good. So, yeah. Make them a part-time mixed tag team. Who gives a shit? Whatever.
I thought this was very overbooked. There was tons of shit happening.
It was tons of stuff, but it worked with the crowd.
Was Cody Rhodes the agent for this?
If it was good Cody. This was the good Cody.
They did FTR's finishing move.
Yes. They actually called it the Shatter's Machine too.
Yep. So, Yeah, this was like I said, it was hard to really pay attention. I just saw all the shit happening, so it was just like, all right.
It was a ton of shit. I'll tell you, it was a ton of shit, but it was the stuff that worked. Similar to that Rey Mysterio match, where it's like all this shit is happening and it's super overbooked and it's crazy, but like the crowd's getting hotter and hotter and it's actually fun, and like it's so much better than like when it was like, you know, Edge in these singles matches, they're going 25 minutes, he's laying down for everyone. AJ Styles, it's so much better. Look, in the end, it comes full circle. Edge is a tag wrestler.
You turn into once a man, twice a child.
Yeah. It's the same shit.
You turn into what you were.
What goes around comes around back again. Yes. So then you end up getting the U.S. title Elimination Chamber match. Austin Theory, Montez Ford, Gargano, Rollins, two other people I'm blanking on right now.
Damian Priest, Bronson Reed.
That's right. How could I forget Bronson Reed? So like I'm just making fun of the pop he didn't get. I'm just making fun of that.
Yeah.
I can say the same for Johnny Gargano. Jesus Christ.
Hold on, James. Did you hear that?
I hear claps.
That was the sound of Bronson Reed making his entrance again.
No, same thing when you had the claps. That's Johnny Gargano's music starting.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I was like, this dude was my favorite wrestler in the world. And then like he got next to no reaction. And then like he had to go out there and do a fucking doomsday devising reverse Hurricane Rana and then had to do a Hurricane Rana off the top of a pod to get a reaction after that. I was like, you should have left, fool. Dummy. Look at the shit you gotta do to get a reaction.
I'm gathering like the stuff they're doing with him is like where he's that kind of unlikable baby face. Like they just aren't. There's no real plan with Johnny Gargano. Which
of course,
is
there's no plan with him.
Like it was like, hold on, ain't Triple H in charge? Like what the fuck? Like I don't. But there was no evidence that he was going to love him the same. So
on the main roster, of course. Like, look, Gargano's my age. I think he's 35, 34, something like that, and he's 5'7".
Yeah,
and he's in WWE. It didn't matter what. It doesn't matter if he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The age is the age, and the height is the height.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he loves the Fed. Glad he's where he wants to be. So,
right. Like you made that decision. Good for you. I wish more for you. Like, do you remember? What was it? The 2 Chainz and Kanye, right? The birth while it was my birthday, and then like Kanye on the verse, he's like, he said, for my birthday, she gave me a sweater. He said, I politely kissed her on the forehead and told her, do better, Johnny. You should. I wanted more for you. I really did. But yeah, man, like outside of this match was awesome though. There was tons of crazy shit like Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, and Bronson Reed. Like they said, look, we finna steal this show. We finna do this thing. And like, I understand we got Austin Theory with us. Like, you can have him get in where he fits in, but this is mostly about us. And they made it mostly about them. And you got to think like that is a lot of that core that we mentioned. Like that is that 2019 to 2020 NXT core. So like they're used to doing these kinds of matches. And they had Seth in there, and Seth is always willing for, a big match like this, and they killed it. And they also told a story on commentary to like Johnny and Seth were like on the same, like running like the same indie circus, like with Graves back in the day or whatever else. So like there's points when they're both on the chamber and they're like kind of like hanging out, and then one of them turns on the other. Like it was playing into that a little bit. Like it was an awesome match though. Like some of the stuff they had Gargano doing was crazy. Montez, they keep teasing like they're going to do something with Montez. Like it's a one thing to tease and he does all this awesome super athletic shit. Is another thing when you actually fucking do it. Can you do it already? It's been about a year now. Was day one last year when they were already teasing that he could be a guy?
I feel like he's gonna get the post WrestleMania summer look because they were kind of testing him out like last year. I think he should stop doing the Triple H and Rock stuff personally, but everything else, run it. I think, they gave him the 2 eliminations.
Yep.
There was similarities with how Bronson Reed and Raquel Rodriguez got eliminated.
Yep. Because they're big monsters, you got to hit them with the kitchen sink and even the kitchen tile to get them out of there.
But yeah, I got no complaints about the rest of this. Kind of a funny finish. I immediately knew Montez Ford was like not injured, and I was watching with someone that did not know that, and I was just like kind of just looking like, how can't you see what's happening here? And
Have they never watched wrestling before?
It felt like it. But it was I was like, yeah, like they do these kind of things in the chamber to make people run in. I'm like, there's no rules anyway. What do we need this distraction for? But they opened the chamber like 6 times for the match anyway. So like, there can't just be somebody standing there. Like, I don't know why they chose to do that, but
especially, Also, another one's like one of the most famous like break-ins in Elimination Chamber in his history is like Shawn Michaels just opens up the bottom of the fucking thing and just shows up and super kicks Undertaker and costs him the big gold belt. So it's like,
y'all couldn't have built a trap door for that man or something. Like what's the deal here? I have no problem with Logan Paul showing up. I
have a problem with his motivations because it makes the boy that a lot of us think is dumb look dumb.
Look, he knows. He said if that like fuck, I won that U.S. title for. Like, that shit don't matter. Y'all got that shit on Austin Theory.
Look, man, you can say that if you want to, but it's not as if we haven't seen him already challenge for a title in WWE before. It's already happened. He wants a belt. He wants gold or leather, whatever you want to call it.
He want the real belt.
All right, he ain't gonna get the real belt because the real belt's on this motherfucker for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Hollywood Hogan laughs. But yeah, odds of Seth losing at WrestleMania. High. Very high. Like, I don't imagine Logan Paul is doing many more jobs at all if they're not to one Roman Reigns.
Yeah, he said no, laugh my ass off, no hesitation. Like, look, Seth
celebrity
Rollins loses. All he does is lose.
Like, bro, have you seen
Seth
Rollins'
no bad way, like he's
record?
A loser, he's trash or anything. Like he's still, he's their best wrestler still at this point. But or as far as match quality, but his record on pay-per-view in the last 18 months is abysmal.
You know what? I'm gonna take Seth out of that category. He's not better than Walter, who I would have loved to see tonight at this point.
Walter don't be on pay-per-view except for twice a year.
Sad. Really sad. They should really stop putting 5 matches on pay-per-views. I
don't know, because they come out here and it's like SummerSlam. You're not gonna feel that way. I guarantee you.
Let's see. But like we mentioned, they set up the Rollins and Logan Paul thing. Montez Ford's got a couple eliminations.
Hold on, let me pause just to get clarification. Yes, Walter Gunther is better than Seth Rollins.
Thank you.
I'm not going to disagree on you. I'm just moving. Does this make it think that Seth Rollins is better? No, I don't.
But yeah, maybe Rollins fits just a traditional archetype that kind of gives him that respect. We'll say that. But yeah, just it's fucking Gunther. And once we get to the One Nation Radio Awards this year, I'm glad y'all voters did the right thing out here. So, yeah, it's kind of amazing. A man, I hate to preview it like this. A man that can't make WWE pay-per-views. He has no problem winning One Nation Radio Awards. Let's just say that.
I'm sure it's our biased audience. I'm sure it's what it is. But yeah, this match is great, and then ultimately at the end, you have Montez taken out. It leaves the gate open. You think Austin Theory is going to be taken out by Seth. Seth's going to win. This is going to be a breeze. Logan Paul comes in, ends up costing Seth Rollins the match. Austin Theory retains. So like I'm watching it, and I watched it last night, and I was spoiled on this, and I'm watching it, and I'm just like, okay, so Logan Paul, and it was already set in stone, like that, you know, he got eliminated in the Rumble by Logan Paul. Seth Rollins did, and Seth Rollins has been doing the whole internet thing, making fun of Logan Paul, which means obviously that's where they're headed. So Logan Paul says, "Hey, like." I want a match with this guy. So, like, I'm going to cost him a belt instead of just having him win the belt and then, like, I challenge him for the belt and take it off him. Logan Paul's an idiot. So, like, one, Logan Paul's an idiot. Two, Seth Rollins, like, can afford to lose to Austin Theory because, like, Seth Rollins loses all the goddamn time to anybody anyway. It doesn't matter. He's still over. And then, like, Austin Theory, who's a guy they, like, made Money in the Bank winner, is now the U.S. fucking champion. Like,
this is an industry plant.
He can't even beat nobody. It's like, who did this get over? Oh, nobody? Then why even do it this way? So, there you go.
He got that industry plant push, and if they give him John Cena, it's just going to be like, I can't believe this. A factory wrestler like 2007 WWE has called Velocity, Jacked, all those sub shows they used to have dudes on, creator wrestlers. That's funny. Gabe Sapolsky used to crumble.
All right, so now the main event.
Let's get to it.
Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the, what do they call them, double titles now? The WWE...
Brother, I have no idea.
WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Universal title, some shit like that now.
Unified something.
It's for the two fucking belts. Who gives a shit? So, Roman comes out first. He gets showered in boos and chants and derisions. I watched this. I didn't watch this live. I ended up watching this last night. So like he came out first, and I was like, oh, he came out first. Let me move this and skip 5 minutes ahead and change. I skip 5 minutes ahead and change. He's in the ring. Semi music hasn't even started. He's still like arguing with the crowd. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? People had to sit for out 5 minutes. It is not even like a Royal Rumble baseball stadium or WrestleMania on a long ramp. This is a regular ass arena, and like it took him 5 minutes to get in the ring before they couldn't even play his shit.
Bro,
they was milking it.
This is worse than the Undertaker at this point. At least it was like the Undertaker's dead. He moves slow. Stuff like there's special lights and stuff. He's trying to do special effects and shit. Roman Reigns just walking his ass to the ring and then just like glaring at the crowd, and it's like people are eating this up. I'm like, all right, man. I'll just sit here, use the restroom.
I'm assuming he got booed and F you Roman and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get myself something to eat, pour a drink, sit back down, wait for him to enter the ring. Let's move it along now, you know. And then after his music stopped, they did that thing they like to do where they're trying to build tension, and they just like wait like what feels like an additional minute to hit Sami Zayn's music. Comes out, big reception. It feels like just everything takes forever. Then the bell rings, and I swear to God, I thought I was watching Kazu. I forgot the fuck his first name. Fujita versus Go Shiozaki.
Fujita versus Go Shiozaki. Yeah.
I thought I was watching that because like these guys were just staring a hole in each other. Nothing was happening, and it was just like I was just insanely bored even before they got to the wrestling, which was also insanely boring.
So, I watched it. I already know who won and who lost, but I didn't know about what people thought about the match. So I'm watching it last night.
There's a litmus test right here. There's a line in the sand.
Huh?
There's a line in the sand match right here.
So skip ahead of the Roman stuff as you know, as it goes. We're just waiting for the crowd reaction for Sammy. The fucking loud as fuck. It's crazy. They're going nuts in there for that dude. You get the chance along with his music and all that kind of stuff. huge Sammy chants. They show a woman in the crowd, which we find out later is his wife. Then, the bell rings, and as you mentioned, and you didn't clue me in or tip me into any of this stuff. I'm just watching, and like I'm expecting, like, soak it in, similar to WrestleMania 18 between Hogan and Rock or whatever. And I'm just like, all right, we're past the point of this, right? Like, Roman hasn't even moved out the corner, and it feels like it's been 3 minutes. He hasn't moved out the corner. He's just standing there, and I'm like, okay. And I actually like the Fujita Shiozaki thing flashed across my mind, right? Also, like the first 2 minutes of that Tam and Mayu match from Osaka from 2 years ago, and I'm like, okay, this is taking forever. And then I'm like, this feels like it's been like 5 minutes. And then they finally do interact. I was like, why did they? I get soaking it up and all that and get all the boos and the chance on and stuff, but like it felt like they took way too long with it. And then, like you mentioned, like the match is in one gear, and like it doesn't ever get above that gear except for like the setup for the near falls that has nothing to do with like the athleticism or the desperation of the acts. It's just we wrestle like it's a TV match, and like then like wrestle, and then like the WWE main event style like kicks into overdrive, and that's what's carrying the match as opposed to like the actual action and like the the back and forth from the violence or anything like that. Or it was really surprising for me to watch that match, and like it's Sami Zayn in there, like is one of the very best wrestlers of the 21st century. And I know he's cooked as far as shoulders and all that kind of stuff, and his athleticism isn't what it used to be. But like this was a dude that always was really good with like coming up with story beats for going back and forth and like fighting from underneath. And I was shocked that like that's what all this was.
If there was ever the cause or need or situation for a bullet in the chamber game, wouldn't this have been?
This is it. And like, so like for me, like people are killing Roman because like it was the layout of the Roman template of matches for all these years. So like people are on Roman's ass, but it's like at some point, I don't know when it happened. Well, I know when it happened, like when he had the double shoulder stuff, but like I don't know if like people ever really realize this, but like Sammy ain't got it no more. Mm-hmm. He might have it in like, a match with Kevin Owens where like they have a ladder match or a hardcore match, they beat the shit out of each other. But like as far as like that dude being like one of the best wrestlers in the ring, I don't think he has that no more. Otherwise he would have shown it here.
Yeah, man.
I think he's just cooked I think he's cooked as a single.
That could be the case, but like it just fits so well into the Roman Reigns template that has become so long in the tooth. Yep. That is just like a copy and paste of the Kevin Owens match, of the Drew McIntyre match, like all the Brock Lesnar matches.
Make no mistake. I'm not saying that it's an either or. I think it's both. And I think that so people are so mad at the Roman thing, rightfully so, because it's been going on for so long that like people aren't looking like, hey, is Sammy actually done? Could he have done this?
Yeah, man.
And I think that should be asked. But back to Roman.
It was a
new
lot. New
format, switch it up, do something else.
It was a lot, but it's crazy. It's like the people that are in love with this thing, and I'm going to talk about it. As we go on, they're loving this. Like they're loving this, and it's like I watched this match, and I was so thankful that we have alternatives in professional wrestling, because it was this for 20 years. And aside from all that, the thing to really be mad about, like no one's talking about, and I'm going based off of reporting here. Vince McMahon is helping with this finish. He just crawls himself back in there. Him and Paul Heyman were the ones that designed this shit. And boy, that finish in this match was just like, this was a absolute textbook definition of how they beat somebody that you don't give a fuck about. They made this guy cost himself the match, James, and then they did all the interference, like what felt like double the interference that was going on with the
2 ref bumps.
With the Beth Phoenix and Edge stuff. That wasn't in the league of this. Like, this was just like House of Roman. Like, this was Hollywood Hogan. This was just like, yo, there's so much with this.
At what point, like, you remember the Nitros, like, NWO being the main event, and about 3 minutes or 5 minutes before the show will go out and the match still going on, you can see people in the crowd start looking towards the ramp because NW's gonna run out and fuck up whoever they're facing, right?
Yes.
At what point do people in Roman matches like start just looking to the back?
I know I was.
That's what I was doing. Like,
I didn't buy a single near fall. For anyone to tell me that they were buying near falls, I'm like, in what fucking reality?
Right. And it wasn't even like a thing of like, we're jaded WWE fans or whatever else. It was like, none of these finishes were done in the fashion where you like know that this person has been put away and been finished with a big move. Like, this big move that is getting the pinfall isn't the move where like somebody got hit with something and now they're getting up and now they're getting hit with another move to be put away. This was a person's last shot to actually turn the tide, and now it's actually kind of even now. And the person, like, none of these were actually like, oh, he's done. So I didn't get it. I'm with you. I didn't get it. But the crowd was losing it for it. It was wild to me.
There were minutes and minutes and minutes of this match after it got going where Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn were not making contact with each other.
Yeah, like after the ref bump, right?
Just for spaces of time. And I'm like, this isn't wrestling. Like, I was like, obviously Roman Reigns is reciting, pages of dialogue during this, yelling at the wife.
Yes. There was a point, what would be considered, like, in what would be considered, like, in a big main event match, like the time where, like, people, like, come to their knees, to their feet fighting, right? Roman has talked so much throughout this match and has to yell over this crowd that his voice is cracking while he's giving out this dialogue, and I start fucking laughing because I was like, this fucker has done so much talking in this match and had to yell over this loud ass, hot ass crowd, and now his voice is cracking in the middle of this, and now he's losing his voice. Right. And I end up saying on a video thing like, bro, fuck that, just wrestle. You ain't got to worry about losing your voice.
Right. So, like, put it like this. Sami Zayn loses. I don't care whether Sami Zayn won this match, lost this match, anything. It's how they did this was just absolutely inexcusable on any level. And I don't think, you can be like, it's no secret. I'm not a fan of WWE. I don't watch WWE regularly. I watch the pay-per-views and I talk to friends that, I trust about it and listen to, people that, I think are, worth listening to. You won't catch me, listen to anybody running riffs or anything. But I was talking to a buddy of mine, and just a couple things like have stood out to me, like the way everyone was just so okay with Sami Zayn just getting thrown to the wayside now after this, months and months of this propaganda of Sami Zayn is the hottest person in this storyline. He's the hottest person in wrestling. He's actually moving numbers himself. Right?
Yeah.
All of this, it's just okay that he gets to go compete for the downtrodden tag titles now. Like, you saw that building fall absolutely silent as a church mouse.
They weren't even mad. They weren't even
mad.
They didn't throw trash, none of that.
They didn't give a fuck when Kevin Owens came out. So this storyline that everybody's concocted for months and months, it's going to be the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then they didn't even set that up in front of the crowd that was maybe likely to embrace it. Like I said, they made Sami Zayn cost himself the match, which is booking that you do. It wasn't even like the Usos fucked him. It's like, you're not supposed to feel sorry for Sami Zayn because his emotions got the best of him. He couldn't close the deal. This is what they do to people when they don't want to get you. They don't want you to get over at the highest level. We've seen them do these type of finishes with people time after time and time again. because like it's not supposed to be Sami Zayn.
Right.
Like I don't think that's a secret or anything.
Here's the real thing for me, right? So I talk about this all the time. When it comes to the poetic storytelling of WWE, like the good version of it, right? Like Shawn Michaels is reffing in '97 SummerSlam the heavyweight title match between Undertaker as the champion versus Bret Hart. Everybody knows that Bret and Shawn hate each other's guts on screen and off screen. So ultimately Bret ends up spitting in Shawn's face. Shawn because Bret was going to use a chair. He took the chair from Bret. Bret spits in his face. Shawn loads up the chair, swings it, ducks, and also accidentally hits Undertaker. And he ends up having to call the 3 count because the rule was if he screwed Bret or whatever else, he couldn't wrestle in WWE anymore. Some shit like that, right?
Right.
So you move
couldn't wrestle in the United States. Like he was going to be banned just like Bret.
Yeah. So you move forward over the months and months and months, and then Shawn ends up like actually taking Undertaker out with a chair again. And then they have the Hell in a Cell match. And at the end of it, before Kane comes out, Undertaker has clearly beaten Shawn because he has chased him up the cage, over towards the side, knocked him off the cage, brought him back into the ring, and then grabbed the chair and then cracked his fucking cranium with the chair because he got his revenge on that. And then Kane comes out, blah, blah, blah. But Undertaker got his revenge because he got hit with a chair, and ultimately he gets the chair back, right? And hits him with a chair. So Sami Zayn hit Roman Reigns with a chair to turn on him to save Kevin Owens because he thought that Roman had gone too far.
So wait, James, he didn't turn on either of the Usos?
No. I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Okay.
So, the end of this match, and obviously this is, like, it's Triple H. This is what Triple H would have done if he was the heel. Because Triple H does this all the time. Like, there's all this cheating and bullshit in the match, and then ultimately, like, you end at the end with the pedigree or the spear. You win with your move. You don't win with the interference, right? It's not a belt shot, and then you pin up the belt shot, right? It's always you got to win your move because you're saying that you cheated, but you ultimately get beaten because you hit your move, right?
Need that for the video package.
Right. So, Sami Zayn goes to spear Roman. Roman sees it, ducks out the way, accidentally spears Jay. Also, Jay, like, when he had the chance to swing the chair at Roman, he thought about it, but he didn't pull the trigger. So, if anybody were watching this TV show, you would say Jay would be like, clearly he was conflicted, and then he got hit by Sami on accident, and he would still feel the same way he felt before he got speared, correct? But no, they're dumbasses that don't watch the show. So they'll go from there, and Jay and Jimmy, who have been fucking morons for years now at this point, in this whole entire storyline, look to be dumber than a box of fucking bricks. Then he'll turn on Sami in Kevin Owens, right? That's what's going to happen to get to that match. So that's one part. So the Jimmy part, we'll move that to the side now because you want to talk about it. That's side. That's why this stinks. But Sami accidentally goes to spear Roman, misses, and then Roman had the chair, so he beats the shit out of Sami with the chair, which would be poetic because Sami hit him with the chair. So he should beat him with the chair a million times and then pin him. No, he gets up, loads up in the corner, spears him, and then the ref comes. The first ref finally wakes up after 7 minutes, and then he slow crawls to see his shoulders, and then slow counts 3, and that was the end. I was like, okay, so Sami, and then, so their logic will be, Sami got that one visual pinfall, and like, how many visual pinfalls does Roman Reigns have to give guys in all these matches, and these guys actually don't get anything in these visual pinfalls? Stop doing it, because you're not giving them anything. You know you're not actually giving them anything. So it happened to Kevin Owens. Is Kevin Owens hot still? Outside of what's going on with Sami Zayn? No.
Speaking of that, I was having a conversation with some friends of ours, and I ended up writing this long text that ended up going unresponded to because I don't know why, but like these guys are, you know, pretty hardcore WWE fans, I'd say, and and this is the argument that is coming from lots of people online. It's like, oh, they protected Sami Zayn so well, he's going to remain over at this level and all that. In my opinion,
he's going to remain on the level of being in his hometown in the main event.
I was going to say, think about all the stuff that we just described, and then tell me how that leads to someone being more over. This wasn't somebody fighting valiantly and having the best match of his life and just going down and
right.
You know.
This was not Johnny Gargano facing Andrade Cien Almas in Philadelphia. It was not. Right.
And it's like, yo, so like I was like, you know, I was responding, and feel free to use this in your responses, your debates, anything else like that. You know, I was like, you know, because you know, you get accused, you know, it's like, oh, you just hate WWE, you just hate. I'm like, if I can present something where you find that I'm lying or being unfair about it, I'm open ears. So I told them to take it from me, your most desired fan, a casual. The shit last night was atrocious and stupid. Aside from the atrocious match layout, which will make Hollywood Hogan jealous, that featured several minutes of match time, not even making contact with each other. I won't even write the full list of things. And that building falling silent after the 3 count, and the no one giving a damn when Kevin Owens came out in their own hometown. That does not bode well for their future prospects of remaining over. According to the people that I trust, which is, you know, lots of these guys, and you know, I listen to smart people about this stuff. Sami Zayn has been the one moving all this forward. He's been the guy popping ratings. Everybody. It was just such a big deal that he made the Bloodline corpse in a segment a couple times. It was just the greatest thing people had ever seen, apparently. Right? To see people like that have parroted this logic, be willing to drop him like a bad habit so quickly when he's the one popping numbers, whether he's stapled to Reigns or not, and to be so accepting of this clearer, lesser spot, it tells me a few things. It's either this storyline wasn't actually at the level it's being billed to me as. You just want to accept anything WWE hands out, which if that's the case, great. You know, it's an Emmy Award winning storyline to some of y'all, right? Or the last option, you just want Roman Reigns to retire with the title because you loved him for years, either secretly or vocally. And while he was getting booed out of the building for years as a babyface, and you're happy he finally got something going after a decade. Like I said, be clear. I don't care whether they beat Zayn or not, but how they did it, that was evil House of Torture, anti-climax at its finest. And after, they did the same thing to McIntyre, where they made him sing like a geek. Sammy didn't even get to sing. Like
I mean, I will say there were no like low blows and exposed turnbuckles, but it's like routine, same shit you see from the same squad of heels over and over and over in these title matches. Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, where's the innovation? Where's like where's the attempt to actually try to have a really good match? And like, yeah, man.
Like that's how you kill somebody. Like that's how you like cool their jets. This is the definition, and it's so weird. Like the dynamic is so weird with what's left. And I guess we're dealing with the hardest of the hardcore that are left that will just want to love everything, right?
I think there's also this part, Rich, that has like it has ruined WWE in their like hero making quest. Is like they're still learning these lessons as like these are the models to make off of these exceptional things that happen. So like all these years we've had The Rock be exceptional to all the dumb things they did with him because he's the fucking Rock, and therefore they think anybody they pick can like go through these same like bad, like just fundamentally bad booking things for a babyface and survive it because they think, well, The Rock did it. He's the fucking Rock. And then from those lessons, you also have like the Daniel Bryan stuff, which is also baked into this. And like, that's why they've had like these long suffering losers as champions, or sorry, as like chasers and whatever else. And then like, they don't know what to do with them when they get the belt, or they'll just cut them off and then move on. And they're like, oh, they'll be fine. They'll stay happy. Like, bro, like, I said to you, right? Or I said in the thing, like, it just dawned on me. Like, the Usos are the tag champions, or the double tag champions, they're heels. Roman's a top double champion, he's a heel. Austin Theory's a heel. Gunther is a heel. He's awesome, but he's a fucking heel. Charlotte, I was made aware, was a babyface, but only realized she's babyface because she cashed in on an injured post-match Ronda Rousey, which is like, that's not really a babyface, but sure, I'll give you that one. Like, Bianca's the only real actual babyface as a champion in this company. And like, this is what they want. And like, they're doing better than they were a year ago. Like, the fans have fully like circled their wagons and have accepted that like, this is a heel promotion. They've been a heel promotion ever since Mr. McMahon and all the bullshit and Triple H Reign of Terror. And like, there'll be moments where you get, you know, Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 and like WrestleMania 35 where you get, you know, Kofi and Seth and Becky all win. But ultimately, it's always going to come back to all the heels have the belts, or most of the belts, or the heels on top. And like, they finally, after all the years of making Roman the babyface, and they failed and rejected him, they turned him heel, and now he's over, and now like he's getting his fucking ace run as a heel, and there's nobody in sight for to ever beat him, and like the fans
like have now crushing fashion,
and the fans have now realized like there is nobody coming to beat that guy, like. He's going when he clears Cody at WrestleMania. I don't want to hear shit until next WrestleMania in WrestleMania 40 that like somebody can actually beat him. There's nobody to come beat him unless it's WrestleMania 40 because it's an even round perfect number. But get out of my face with that. And like when he clears him, I'm going to be like, I told you. This is about Roman getting his big run, but he's a heel now, and it's a heel company, and like like. Everyone's going to we the ones, James. And he's like the top heel in the top babyface while doing all this dastardly shit. And like baby faces, good guys and bad guys and heels, it don't matter in this company no more. They're post wrestling. They're post pro wrestling. They're post storytelling. When you have to do Elimination Chamber, Survivor Series, War Games, and like the heels have to get the heat put on them. We're past that. We're past it now.
Yeah, it's like pro wrestling worked for 100 years in this country, like a certain way, and like at some point you would think, you know the thing that I'm hearing now, right? The rationale that's going on now is like, yeah, man, you know, Roman's at 900 days. You know, what's to stop him from going to 1,000 days? Like, you know, like he just blow through Cody and get that, you know.
But you know, me, Rich, like I've been on this whole thing, and like if Cody were to get to WrestleMania match, he was going to lose anyway. So it doesn't matter to me about like he's going to beat him to get to 1,000 days. That might be the excuse or whatever else, but like it's really about getting to 2,000 days or whatever the fuck. There is nobody coming for
the future.
To
never comes for this. Like it just is what it is, right? They're gonna try to build this Cody thing.
Roman Reigns turning back babyface eventually. That's what's coming to stop Roman Reigns. And then they'll have a heel beat him. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna turn babyface and then a heel beats him. Finally, that's what's gonna happen. So that he can then have a 1,000-day run or you know a year run. That's what's gonna happen.
Man, and also, you know, if Sami Zayn, the man that y'all say is in the hottest storyline and is the one driving all this forward, if him beating this guy that has this title reign, that's had this belt, wouldn't solidify him at some level, it wouldn't, quote unquote, be as appealing, somebody's fucking lying. Yeah. Somebody
like is proposing nonsense, or somebody is just like in denial. Like it's like if this was 20 years ago, we would like everybody would be like, what the fuck are they doing?
Right.
Like, what's happening now? Like, you had this low running heel beat everybody, a person that actually is like connected to him emotionally, or with in a familiar aspect, or with a friendship, like is a babyface, and the crowd likes them and thinks they're funny and all that kind of stuff, and they really genuinely like this guy because he's a really good
like
guy, off screen and all that kind of stuff. And like he gets the match in his hometown, and they beat him in his hometown. And I remember you saying to me, in reference to the Sami Zayn thing in the Drew McIntyre thing, is like these are like town killing moves. And I said to you, Rich, they were in the days when it actually was pro wrestling and not WWE, but like they'll just not come to this place for 20 fucking years, and like the only show in town that people actually respect is WWE. They think that, AEW is like, it's some bullshit. So like they only care about WWE. So like they'll be starved for a decade plus, and then eventually they'll come back and like they'll just slowly forget about it and they'll come back with their kid. And like I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, but it's like they are like storyline proof. They are match proof. They are character proof. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. It just like this was a good show. Ultimately, like the main event I thought was just there, and I think the match was just there, and I think that the direction like killed a guy, but ultimately they didn't really kill him because like he'll be a tag champion of WrestleMania and they'll say this is a great story, blah blah blah, and I'm like, not really. The story was if he had won, but they're not going to do that because the match was only built for him to get the match, not actually win it, because WrestleMania is the thing where you actually would switch the belt at this particular point. Yeah. It is what it is. And like, I don't think he's losing to Cody, so it is what it is.
I reserve, like I'm leaning in the Roman retains camp just because I don't know, man. Like, you can't trust him.
Rich, the last thing about it is, when's the last time there's babyface in WrestleMania in the main event that like absolutely had to win? What happened to him? Oh, he got his head bust and now he's a champion as a heel? Oh, so why should I think Cody Rhodes gonna win? We've been over this before. This is a company.
The AEW man. The AEW man. I tell you, man, if you don't think they will relish, I know they got Cody back. Everyone's been public facing on this thing kind of with the best intentions. Cody's doing his damnedest right now when his press runs. He's trying to say all the right stuff everywhere and, get people on his side. But something inside me is seeing Paul Heyman lurking around saying we can get a couple matches out of this. We can use some 1970s bullshit he saw when he was a photographer that superstar Billy Graham was doing to stretch it out another month or two. And I feel like some shit is getting pulled. There is no all-time better time to ever do a dusty finish in the history of wrestling than coming up in LA. Nastiness is set to incur, I feel like. And this is going to be the most overbooked melodramatic match of all time, by the way.
Could be. I think about a week ago, I heard someone mention that there could be a dusty finish in the WrestleMania main event. And I'm just like, could be. They don't care. Right. Like the WrestleMania main event's not safe enough for them not to do it. Like, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
look,
whatever.
Are they going to say Cody Rhodes, is he going to lose because some blood has corrupted his vision or some shit? Like,
yeah.
It's all on the table.
Is he going to show up post match with like a fucking white towel wrapped around his head, like his daddy was? And then want to have a shoe fight with who was it? Was it Marvin Hagler?
Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier. Yeah. Okay.
Is he going to say he will never challenge for the championship again?
That's where it all went downhill for him too.
Look, man, I've seen this Cody movie before, man.
You have.
I've seen this before, man,
yeah.
and the story leading up is usually really motivating. It's exciting to a point, but man, just taking your act on the road and acting like people ain't see that shit before. It's only so long. It's only so long Fate Thugs can pretend.
This is at least the third time he's done this, right?
Yes.
Because he did it with the NWA World Title. He did it with the AEW World Title, and now he's doing it with whatever they call the double titles in WWE.
And I got news for you. Neither of those outcomes in the outcome of the big match present favorable things. So, hey, man. I'm just saying, lock in Roman Reigns. It ain't going to end. Nothing is telling me that it's going to end yet.
Same.
Could they do some stuff to, some good promos? Could they?
Yeah, they're definitely gonna do that. Yeah, it's Cody.
They're gonna do all this stuff, and I think people are gonna believe. And you only hope that that Cody comes out all right on the other side. I watched that cage match that he had, and I thought he was kind of solidified as far as in WWE, and he's been really over.
Yeah,
one can hope that the Sami Zayn stuff doesn't linger, follow him around, anything like that. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't put Cody on television, like in Canada at all. But I think they put him on TV tonight. I'm not sure.
I don't know what Cody Rhodes has to do with how they treated Sami Zayn.
Right. I mean, they tried to link them together to try to get cute.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like you finish your story and then I'll try to finish mine. Yeah, but like at least that's like the John Cena approach, and Cody is really big on the John Cena thing. Like, I'm not gonna run from what's hot if it affects me. Like, I'll run into it and be about reality with it. Like sometimes I might fuck myself up like he did in the AEW, but like at least he's not afraid to to try to figure out a way to. At least he's willing to deal with a head-on as opposed to try to scheme to find a way to, get the belts off one particular tag team and then put it on this other tag team that fucking stinks so they can get the belts and people be okay with it. Like, they're far less like, Cody's far more, on some Front Street shit about it. So, yeah, I appreciate that at least.
Yeah, it's just like, in a world that The Rock says yes, like, we're not even talking about this.
Right.
So, like, there's so much of, like, there's no intention behind this stuff.
Right.
Like, with the Roman Reigns stuff, because the intention was for The Rock. So,
and the intention was for him to beat The Rock.
Right. So, like...
So, why the fuck would Cody beat him?
So, that, like, Cody, that's a whole different finish. So, like...
Like, imagine that come down, right? Imagine that come down. They in the back, Triple H, Vince, and Heyman all talk to him like, yeah, man, so we on the phone.
I'll tell you why The Rock ain't gonna do it in a second, too.
Right, because Rock don't give a fuck. Let me get my point, like...
Rock is not helping Triple H.
Right, but hold on, like, imagine you Roman, right? 90 days ago, you're like, like you in the back, like Vince on the conference call with Heyman and Hunter there, right? And they like, hey man, we still working on this. We trying to get you to Rock for WrestleMania, and Rock gonna push you over, right? And you like, okay, and then they come back to you, and then all of a sudden, like, let's say 60 days pass, and they come back to you, yeah, man, Rock said he can't do it, big dog. Can you do it, big dog? I ain't trying to do the big dog because, the Roman's big dog. I mean, like, this is big dog, period, right? Can you do it, bro? Can you do it?
Look,
and then all of a sudden, they're like, hey.
To the trial of Sami Zayn.
Be like, but we got, here's the backup plan, though. We want, we gonna have you beat The Rock at WrestleMania, but what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna have Cody Rhodes go ahead and beat you at WrestleMania. Nigga, what?
What the fuck does that sound like? That doesn't even sound like it makes sense at all.
I'm going home.
I'm not putting anybody over.
Yeah. The fuck? I'm supposed to be The Rock.
But I'm going with the belt.
I'm going with a nigga that couldn't even get the AEW belt? What? You kidding me? Are you high?
So next time
you
guys think about that, consider that The Rock was going to lose, but Cody Rhodes is supposed to win. I'll believe it when I see it.
All I'll say is this: if that happens, Roman's better than me. Because ain't no way in hell I go for some shit like that. You must be out your damn mind.
Yeah, man. It's the road to WrestleMania continues.
Yeah. So what do you end up thinking, like, what do you think Gunther ends up doing? Do you think he's actually in a match? Because, people are talking about how much they want to see a Brock versus Gunther thing, and now that, like, Brock has gotten himself away from,
I don't think it's happening.
Able to, do a little of this, and get away from, hit the Heisman and all that kind of shit, and you get away from, Bray. So, like, he's free.
Well, maybe he can do it with Sheamus one last time and put Sheamus over and drop the title to him, because Sheamus has never won the IC title, and that's kind of like his kind of career quest right now. Run it back one more time, have another great match, and then Gunther graduates essentially from that point. Look, you want me to care? Like, put Roman Reigns in the ring with Gunther, and then that's
when they'll get me to care.
Like you can't make me care about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It will not happen in 2023.
Especially when it's like, oh, this is like the third or fourth time. This is the third time I've seen like Roman versus.
Bro, this was like Kevin Owens' 5th title shot in this reign. Like, I was like, what?
Well, I was gonna say like this is like the third, or like that was like the third Royal Rumble match between Roman and Owens. It's like I don't care. Nothing against him, because I still like Kevin, and like I like Roman, even though he's doing the shit that I don't like. But it's like it don't interest me, because Roman's doing something that's like cradling, not compelling to me at all right now. And like I've seen them have 2 other matches in this particular pay-per-view. So but yeah, man, like I think even the Gunther shit would be compelling enough to even deal with whatever that comes with like all the Roman stuff that happens in the back end of his matches. I think he's that cold. I'd be like, I'm fully expecting like, Jay or Jimmy or Solo Sikoa to come out, but like the first 5 minutes gonna be on the point, so it ain't gonna matter.
You sure about that? They might just stare at each other.
I don't know. I don't, that ain't really what I've ever seen in Gunther's DNA to be like that. We just gonna do it like this. Obviously, he'll do what he's told, but if you're like, bro, why would you even book me in this match if you want to have a standard, type of match like that? I'm like, the thing that I bring to the table makes me different from everybody else, even in WWE.
Yeah. He's I hope he stops missing pay-per-views to come in 2023. That is my one wish.
All right, so wow, nearly hour and a half on this.
Mercedes Moné in Battle of the Valley. Real quick overview of Battle of the Valley show. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like this great show or anything, but there was some solid matches from the kind of top of the card. I wasn't really into the undercard stuff too much, but
I thought the opener was really fun.
Gotcha. I missed that because I was coming directly off the stream from Elimination Chamber, so I did not see that match. Gotcha. But everything else I saw, and we got 2 big stories kind of in the fallout of this thing. One of them is
if you are into plunder, you might like if you're into like plundering death match stuff, you might like the Lawler in Homicide match. It won for me.
Yeah, I didn't.
But they did a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Like, it reminded me, I was like, oh, if this is like if the Edge match had weapons, like it was so much.
It was based like a hardcore Bloodsport match.
I was like,
exactly what it was.
Like these things don't mix. Like,
right. But they took the fucking turnbuckle or the ropes down and all that.
It was like a peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich, bro. Huh?
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
But Mercedes Moné wins the IWGP Women's Championship from Kyrie, and I feel good for for Mercedes, and I feel good for us because we were saying, hey, at the end of the day, she's still got to go have the match. So like, she has this reputation, and both of us thought she could have a great match, and it was like, yeah, was it like a match of the year contender? No, it wasn't that, but she didn't it wasn't no sub 4-star match or something where it's like, oh, the thrill is gone, the fire is gone, the passion is gone. Nah, she looks like she's like ready to fully embrace this thing. I watched a 20-minute documentary she put out on her YouTube channel about her trip over to Wrestle Kingdom. Mercedes she's a quirky individual, like most kind of pro wrestlers are. There's a lot that goes with being Mercedes. There always has been. There's been, a lot of people were not hoping she did well. A lot of people were waiting for her to fall on her face. A lot of people were upset she left WWE. We saw the reports about how WWE thought they did all they could do with her at this point. They were committed to Charlotte as the bigger star in her. They've always told us that in the booking. Why would it be a shock in real life they feel that way? But there are people that are upset she didn't show up to AEW. And, there's just general, Mercedes Moné distaste that goes from your fans all the way up to somebody like a Brian Alvarez, who's always kind of covered her in an interesting way, I'll say the least. But
I'd also throw in that, like what you just all said, which is all just add in the part where like what apparently was a work the whole time where she's mispronounced people's names, like that was getting a lot of the Stardom fans under, it was getting under the skin. And also like the treatment of Tam with the 6-minute match or whatever else, for a lot of people that want to see that Kyrie Tam match in full, like I did, like a lot of people were pissed, and I don't mean like pissed to the level that I was, where it's like, damn, this fucking sucks, but like I get it, but it fucking sucks, and I wish you had picked somebody else to suffer this, opposed to like your most popular domestic star. But people were really mad to the point where I was like, yo, I wasn't this mad. Why are y'all madder than me? What the fuck's going on? So like, yeah, all the stuff you said plus that, and it's like a lot of people were like rooting for her downfall, and then she came out there and she slapped on a four something, and like all that shit that we said, and people were wishing well on it. Gotta eat it. She gotta shut the fuck up, because she went out there and did what she's always done in big match situations, which is go out there and ball. Yeah. So. Sorry, better luck next time.
Yeah, I was happy to see her come out. Like I'm digging. I was digging the Hana Kimura tribute. I saw her come out with the mask. I was like immediately like, oh, like so. She had the dancers out there with her. It was quite a different feel for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I didn't like the dancers. I was like, what is this? And then she came out and I saw the hand, so I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I wonder if people are like now getting it like it was a work, or are people going to be like, this is pandering? I was wondering. But most people liked it from what I saw.
I saw some people like doing this is pandering. This is like, I saw some.
It's for clout.
Of course. As far as the match goes, I thought it was kind of like a good psychological match.
It was.
And as far as like, it wasn't like super fast paced or anything, but it wasn't slow either. I thought this kicked the shit out of the main event that I watched on a previous show. And for my money, this is probably my favorite match on the card on Battle in the Valley even. I thought that, I think Kyrie was kind of like a perfect stylistic match for her. Kyrie hit her hard a couple times, but she wasn't going to blast her or anything like that. And Mercedes showed like some good stuff, doing Azumi spots, spot for spot was interesting. So, and I don't know if you've seen, James, her next challenger is Azumi.
Yeah.
But as far as the whole match, like I thought this was excellent, and I was like very happy watching both of these two, because it wasn't just Mercedes that was there; it was Kyrie coming back to America, and you think about how this company used them both, and it's like you got nowhere near as you could out of either of them, I think.
Yep. Like, you know, Kyrie had a number of a few 4-star matches here and there in NXT and whatever, but like they were all of the sprint variety of like her, you know, getting in and getting out in like 10 to 12 minutes with, you know, mostly with Shayna. But like she really only had one opportunity to go out there and have a great match, and ultimately like she ended up getting her fucking head thrown on concrete by Charlotte on accident. So she was kind of, you know, done in that match, which is unfortunate. And then, you know, she left in like, you know, pretty much since November in the big match setting, unless you fucking hold her on time, she's going to go out there and give you a great match. Like she, you know, she had the time limit draw with Kamatani. I gave that 4.25. She had the fucking awesome match with Mayu for the inaugural championship reign. And then she, and then in this match, as far as match, she actually got time. And like she's back in the stride of what the level of wrestler she did. I saw her from when I saw, you know, her stuff in Stardom at you know, before she left, and for WWE. And like, yeah, she's basically kind of like has found her footing. And I thought, you know, in retrospect, like she was the perfect opponent for Sasha. One is someone she's actually wrestled before, and two is someone that's like knows how to wrestle and tell a great story regardless of how the level of physicality in the match with anyone. That's always what Kyrie was great at, was like psychology, being able to sell. And it's just simple psychology. She has the fucking elbow drop, and the way you stop her is you have to mangle her fucking arm. And she's going to fight like hell through it and persevere through it to the point. And then like, we'll get to the point where if she lands the elbow or not, but like that is her psychology. It's always been, and she always finds a way to make it compelling. And like she's in there with somebody that's submission specialist as far as, you know, finishing people with her submission. So like it worked out perfection. And like you get a point where like you get a Bailey to belly suplex, you get Kyrie putting Sasha in her own I don't know what she calls it now, but the bank statement. You actually get like I don't think a lot of people ever saw this in WWE, but like the way you get your knees up or you know, to counter it out of like the last ditch effort to avoid getting hit with the elbow is like you put your feet up, because I think it's a situation where the way she hits the elbow with like the way she's in the air, like you have to get the feet up, because if you get the knees up, like she can't land on her hip, or she lands on her hip and like dislocate her hip. So you put the feet up so you kind of like lands and comes straight down. I've seen it a bunch of times, but like I saw people freaking the fuck out, like, oh my god, did she break her elbow? I'm like, no, that's how she does it. So yeah, like, you know, when I saw the ref bump, I rolled my fucking eyes. I was don't bring that shit here.
Bullshit was on deck.
Keep that shit over there. Way the fuck over there. But ultimately that didn't lead to like the finish. Like it led to a power bomb from Kyrie through a table, and the fucking camera direction fucked up and missed like the spot of like Kyrie after the power bomb grabbing those dollar bills, those the Moné and or the Moné and throwing it on Mercedes, but whatever. But yeah, it's still a great match. I'm not mad at anyone gives it 4.25. I gave it a high 4.
Yeah. I was really into it. And then the other big story coming out of this show.
Well, one thing. So throughout the match, Mercedes did, you know, take advantage of the rules, did a little cheating here and there. And then at the end of the match, Kyrie still like raised her hand and was like, you know, thank you and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what a dumb baby face, but whatever.
Yeah. But they had Jay White ended up having his last match for New Japan Pro Wrestling on this show. Loses to Eddie Kingston.
You just gotta, hopefully.
Yeah.
He might just actually play that shit, be like, I don't care about these Japanese.
I don't care about the rules.
I'm coming back.
Loses to Eddie Kingston. It's a pretty good match as well. Probably my second favorite match of the night. Actually, no. I liked Okada Tanahashi more. I'm sorry. Even still, it was greatest hits, old man style, but you know, special place in my heart. But Jay White leaves. He gets, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like he's going to WWE. when people go to like the way that he got sent out of there with the David Finlay attack, didn't really even get to talk or anything like that. Like that's, for me, it feels like classic. Oh, he's gone. Like, what do you make of like the Jay White New Japan legacy?
The what now?
The Jay White New Japan legacy.
Okay, so fair. Okay, that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that question. I'm sure it exists. It's a thing. I mean, he main evented a Dome.
Two.
Sorry?
Two.
Which one am I forgetting?
He had a match against Kota Ibushi.
Oh yeah, that's right. The second one. This is the second Dome. Yeah, sure. That's true. I mean, he pretty much did everything that he could do at this point, except for win the G1.
And turn babyface.
Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, he's a great wrestler. I think that like him being in America probably suits him better for what he wants to do. It won't be so much of a styles clash and not as annoying to see him do the same things in big matches all the time, as opposed to like, oh, you see it once a month, as opposed to like, as opposed to like 8 of 9 G1 matches, in the span of like 6 weeks, or 8 weeks. So yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I grew very weary of his style really quick. I don't think he was at the level of the top wrestlers in the promotion, but he absolutely is a great wrestler. And when he wants to, he shows it. The problem is he doesn't want to show it that often and do all this other stuff because he feels that like that is what makes him different from the rest of the card. And I gotta say, like, that's what differentiates you. Then like, I don't know, bro. It ain't for me. So yeah, like he'll always have those Ibushi matches. Like those Ibushi matches are off the charts for a lot of people. But that's kind of it for me as far as what I think of him as far as his legacy. Like people, I feel like a lot of people have overrated him as a promo. I think like, yeah, he's a great promo in a place where like you only understand like 3 people speaking to you. Sure. And I'm not saying he's a bad promo, because he is a good promo, but like we saw during the Forbidden Door stuff, you see him like on the screen versus in the same, breathing the same air as Eddie Kingston and an MJF, and it's like, nah, he don't match up in that way, at least from what we saw. But yeah, like at this point, why not make that? Why not like make the change to that challenge of saying I want to be on TV and see if I can make this thing work? Because like he's more than good enough to be in America on TV in a major role.
Yeah, he's 30 now. He's been in New Japan for years. Could he turn babyface? Yes, but like that would be great for him. Like it would be great for him, but like maybe he's thinking how far could I really go? I won't ever get pushed as like the ace as a babyface or anything, or the top guy as a babyface.
He's also not that big.
Yeah, and he it won't. I think when you look back on maybe like the last 2 years of him in New Japan, when we started hearing this stuff about the travel and him just not going over to Japan over and over, maybe he was tired. He was done with it. And he was like, I'm just going to stay here and start doing it. And it's like, I think James Bryan YO makes a great point. I won't know how good Jay White is until I see him have a good match with someone who isn't better than him in the ring. I think a lot of that that lines up with a lot of my feelings on him. I said that I kind of saw him as like his elevation into like that top of the top of the card in New Japan kind of is like the death knell for like the super New Japan era that we were all seeing. People can get mad at me for that if they want, but he's not on that level, and he was being pushed into that spot, and it was just such a change from what we had previously. Obviously, like he's some people's favorite Bullet Club leader for sure. He does have like his own like section of fans. They like his style. They like they like his promos. They like his whole aura and stuff like that. But for me personally, it just never like hit like on a level where I was like, all right, man, I just accept it. Like, all right, it ain't necessarily for me because I'm looking at Will Ospreay being directly across from him the whole time.
Right.
And I'm
Or
like,
even Sabre.
that's the fucking guy. Like, so, I think it is it's a needed change for the promotion and him. Wherever he goes, I think he will be successful. If he shows up to AEW, he'll get over as a heel. He's a natural rival with Hangman Page. And whether you want to plug him in against anyone else, that's cool. Or he's like Triple H will like just move heaven and earth, I think, to get this guy. And, he probably sees himself a lot in Jay White.
The funny part about that is like the second, like, do you remember that 2016 SummerSlam when they brought up Finn Balor? And then they did the Seth and Finn Balor thing. And then the first thing Seth did was saying, like, you're everything. Like, you're everything. You did every base. Like, I am, me and you are the same person, except, like, I'm bigger and better than you. Right. And it's like, I could see, like, them wanting to program with Seth and Seth me and be like, I already know what I'm going to say to him. All right, you ain't finna take my fucking spot.
Man,
this nigga in the back. Real nasty.
Yeah, Jay White, new finisher, the pedigree, James Brown White says. Good God.
We have enough motherfuckers doing the pedigree.
I can tell you a Roman Reigns Jay White match may never begin if they book it. It may never begin. Because I know it ain't going to end. That shit's going to go like forever, but I don't know if it'll start either. But
Roman and Jay White's matches go on forever for different reasons. Jay goes on forever because he wants to wrestle forever.
They're going to amalgamate.
And then and then Roman's matches go forever because like another fucking relative has to come out. It's different reasons why
they got to keep pulling niggas out.
Boy,
look. Bloodline ain't that far from the Wu-Tang Clan, bitch. Like, add a couple more. They make a couple calls. They got another one like coming in the pipeline.
I don't know.
They can always make up relatives. They could call Jacob Fatu and say you affiliated now. They could call up.
I think Fatu is untouchable or something, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay versus Randy Orton, 40 minutes on pay-per-view. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's always another Fatu, Brute David says. Yep. So, that's true. It's true. Just look at the history of wrestling. There's always someone coming. Yeah, man. After that, besides that, I guess.
Tanahashi?
Yeah, we can talk about Okada and Tanahashi. Tanahashi's getting very old, man.
Yeah, he is. I still enjoy the fuck out of this match, though. It was interesting that, like, he got put away with one Rainmaker.
I mean, I expected that because the same thing happened in 2018 when he challenged for the title at Dentaku. So I didn't think he was going to kick out of any Rainmakers.
But yeah, man, I still enjoyed the shit out of the match. I don't know what I give for a rating, but I wouldn't go 4.5, but I think it was better than 4. But yeah, it was fun. And like, they could do that forever. They was, that's to give them a little taste. But like, that's probably like, I don't even know what number match that is for them. Like, I think I've seen at least 5 matches that were better than that easily.
Right.
But it was still
I think this might be the worst match they've ever had.
Singles match. Could be.
Yeah, but and it's almost like, this was a rivalry. Like, this rivalry ended like years ago.
Yeah.
But it's like
last time was really a rivalry was like when he beat him in the G1 in 2018 or 17. I can't remember. When was the last time Tanahashi beat Okada? Was that 17 or 18?
He drawed him in he beat him in 2018.
Yeah.
In the third match they had.
Yeah.
It was but everybody was happy to see Tanahashi. I was happy to see Tanahashi.
Yep. And they played up to the match where like they made him the babyface, and like that was in the thing where it's like this dude always fucking gets over in America. He always gets over in America. Tanahashi made sure no matter what happens, if you sending me over there, I'm finna get over. I don't give a fuck. Smart man.
He knows. Shoot, he wants to come in, to AEW and have a match, against somebody. Go Ace.
It'd be really nasty. It'd be really, really nasty.
What?
Forbidden Door, MJF versus Tanahashi.
Disgusting, Tin.
That would be fucking awful.
That would be disgusting.
That would be awful.
Bro, imagine the MJF promos we had to endure leading up to that.
I
hate Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Like, it would be disgusting. It'd be gross.
Yeah.
Real gross.
Yeah, man. So we have how far along are we into the show, James?
We're at the 150 mark.
Feels like it's later, I guess. But let's get to AEW Dynamite. I guess we have to do Rampage this week because Rampage was actually.
I didn't watch Rampage. I'm still not watching Rampage. But I did watch that Dynamite, and it was like, I damn sure ain't watching this. Damn sure ain't watching Rampage. I don't give a fuck if the leader on there or not. Hell no.
Sound like you on a strike,
bro. That episode was stank. It was like, obviously it's the worst one of the year so far. But I imagine if I were to go to the cage match, like, it has to be in like the bottom 15 of Dynamites ever. Has to be. Maybe bottom 10.
Yeah, I don't know what they were going for with this one. Trying to pull up the notes here.
Seamus X Nova says Dynamite was straight ass, and it made me think like straight ass homie, like Randy Moss, except with straight cash. Yeah.
I'm trying to find
no bueno.
So like they opened this this show up, and like there was stuff that happened on this show.
Yeah.
But there was just like, it seemed like it.
The Wardlow promo seemed was something that came to my mind as something positive.
Yep. But after that, it was like they started this thing with this party match with Orange Cassidy and Acclaim against Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt. Jeff Jarrett, of course, wrestling after Jerry Jarrett had died. They announced that earlier in the day.
Immediately.
Yeah, of course. Like, come on now. Think that was stopping Double J?
Look. I told you, I was watching this live, and when I watch stuff live, I kind of like live tweet to y'all, or not live tweet, but like live message to y'all, like what my thoughts are during the show. And we often all do that. We interact with whatever our thoughts are. But when I saw that, like, you had Billy Gunn in the ring with Jeff Jarrett at the same time, and it was 8:10 on my TV. At the time, I was like, we're 10 minutes in the show, and we got Billy Gunn and Jeff Jarrett in the ring at the same time. In the section of this like 8-person tag match, I was like, oh, little did I know that was like a harbinger of doom for the rest of the show for the next like 110 minutes. I had no idea.
I just don't know like what they were going for. Like,
don't ask me.
Baffled.
I don't know.
Baffled at
Look,
this.
Man, Tony Khan came out that bathroom and just shot an air ball. It happens sometimes.
Stupid.
Sometimes you come out the bathroom and it works. A lot of times you come out that bathroom and it's straight fire. This time, he ain't have it this time.
After that, they were in...
Might have got a bad batch.
Stupid. You stupid. What was after that? They had... Yeah, but this one ended, of course, with... what's his name? Taking the pin, Sanjay Dutt. And
can we talk about Dutt's gear?
Bro, that shit was absurd. A total gimmick. They did the Sesame Timbers thing. They held this man for like
forever,
3 minutes, maybe more, setting up that finish, and it was just like, yo, why are they doing this? This is a house show match they did.
Yes. Jeff Jarrett gets in there and does the Jarrett strut, which is him impersonating
Fargo strut.
No. let me finish my joke, damn it. Like, Jeff Jarrett's in there, and he does the Jarrett strut, which is him imitating Ric Flair, imitating Jackie Fargo. Like, it's ain't nothing original about that man. That man is Tennessee Flair. So he does the strut, and then you catch on the apron, you see Sanjay doing the strut, and then immediately you see Satnam Singh do the strut.
Satnam strut.
That was the highlight of the match. The Satnam strut was the highlight of the match. The opener of AEW Dynamite. Let's move on.
Loved it. So they had a Bryan Danielson video package. Forgot what he said, but after that we had ROH champion Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley against Roosh and Preston Vance. Actually, I enjoyed this match. I thought they beat the shit out of each other, and
hella effort, but was sloppy as hell. And like, they clearly did not have this thing planned out. It was clearly like, we're just going to do this shit on the fly.
I feel like this was a Preston Vance challenge per se. This is like, all right, we're gonna put you in here with these three guys, and we gonna see what you got. This is a measuring stick match. Where are you at? So I don't know if he necessarily like passed with flying colors, but I think he showed enough to like warrant them continuing to kind of give him something.
I have a question. If Jon Moxley didn't blade at all,
what?
Hold on.
What? Why would he not blade? It's Jon Moxley.
Hold on. It's a question. If Jon Moxley didn't blade, could AEW keep a TV PG rating? Or do they cuss too much?
No, they cuss too much.
Okay. Because he bleeds so goddamn much that like he might just be he might be like, this guy is responsible for the TV14 rating. If this guy didn't do this, and him alone as a lone individual actor acting in bad faith, we could have a TV PG show.
He doesn't bleed for me. He doesn't bleed for you. He bleeds for himself. Just to feel something.
Look, at this point, I'm past bringing up like he bleeds in every fucking match or damn near every match because he does. But I just wanted to make my joke and start saying like, bro, this man is responsible for this rating.
We're past bleeding.
We're past bleeding. So yeah, man, I did enjoy the match, but it was sloppy at points as far as like disorganization of like mistimed things of seeming like, and it seemed like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing because like, it's a tornado tag and like two people over on this side, people over on this side. So it was sloppy at times, but the crowd was into it. And then at some point the crowd wasn't into the rest of the show. I forgot what the turning point was though.
I can tell you why. It was like the crowd was like realizing it was like, hold on, we got a bad show, and then the crowd like quit on them like halfway through that. But after that, they were showing Heyman Page. He got attacked by Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian. Dark Order save their guy. Did the Wardlow Jim Ross sit down? This was actually pretty good too. Yep. He basically shares the personal stories with Jim personal stories with Joe while they were teaming, and one of them was about his dad, his connection with him, and he grew his hair, and to kind of honor him because his dad had long hair and a beard, and he had a rocky relationship. He died of cancer, but he was able to see him wrestle at his first indie show. And he basically grew his hair out after he passed as a connection with his dad. Joe knew this and it took it from him. And I kind of like that they did it afterwards because it wasn't like this thing where we all got to kind of telegraph it and get it in the moment. I like them just cutting it. And then it makes it seem like, oh, this shit is fucked up that Joe did.
Yeah. I think it's a nice touch, but it's obviously a retcon. Like, he just wanted to cut his hair. It's fine. But I do like the part where like the hair being cut means something because the look the change of the look means something now.
Yeah, and he didn't have to lose a hair versus hair match or anything, but I thought this was crafted like in an old school kind of Jim Ross interview fashion.
Yeah,
Jim ain't really adding much at this point, but I think Wardlow did good with the format.
Yeah, like this is what Jim should have been doing. Like in retrospect, this is what Jim should have been doing from Jump and only this from Jump in AEW. But like he's still around, so like put him to work. Make him fulfill the contract.
We have Mark Briscoe up next. Defeated Josh Woods. Briscoe's a nice baby face to come on the roster, like in the middle of the shows here, it looks like. And he's a lot of fun when he comes out. It's
they tried. I think the crowd, like, even for an AEW crowd, was like, who the fuck is Josh Woods? Even though we see him like once a month. Like, yeah, this was when people were like getting into the like, enough with, stop trying to make Ring of Honor a thing. So, all right, should I ask the question I asked y'all in the thing? Or
floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so we have seen a lot of people of late like take wrestling media to task for getting into places to be able to ask particular figures within the wrestling industry questions, and instead they ask them these fluff questions, and that's real. So if I were in the one of these AEW pressers, I would say, hey, Mark Briscoe was on the show today. He came down with the Ring of Honor tag team, one half of the Ring of Honor tag team titles. What exactly is happening with that? Like, is he going to defend them by himself? Is he going to vacate them? Is he going to defend them by himself? What is happening? Do you have a plan for what happened? Like, what is your like course of action with this going forward? Because it's unprecedented for Ring of Honor at this point. But what is happening? We would like to know because of the tragic events of what happened to Jay Briscoe. Why are me and Booker T the last two real journalists in pro wrestling?
Brother. Yeah, man. When I saw you ask this question, I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even think about this shit. Like,
I did, because like they just had like one of the best feuds of last year over the belts. And now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those tag matches were literally like what helped carry these pay-per-views.
indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, hey, like, what's happening now? I don't mean to be cruel or callous with that. Like, I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think it's unsensitive to ask that question. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe. Because the way y'all react to me is like, y'all was like, is this a joke? Is this too soon? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, what are they going to do with this shit?
You ever seen that meme where the people are in that city council meeting and somebody says something and then everybody turns around and it's like, you need to leave.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that when that was like, the dude was talking about like his kid was getting picked on and all of a sudden like, well, maybe you should go back to your country. And Buddy was like, you need to leave. Yeah, they were like, they couldn't believe that he said that. It's like, man, I've seen a lot of these parents' conference at schools. I've seen a lot of people say that kind of stuff. I can't believe y'all gasped.
Well, whatever happens with
somebody
the
was thinking that too, besides just him saying it.
Whatever happens with the belts, we are about a month away from Supercard of Honor. One would think that might be a time to address that, whether a tournament final is there, whether it's Mark defending that shit by itself, which I maintain would just be sad.
How they gonna have a tournament final for it when all they got is events? When are they doing the shows? When does the show start?
They tape next weekend, February 25th and 26th. Okay.
Slipped my mind. Sorry, I clearly missed that part. Okay.
So I'm sure something will come out of that. So
shit, yeah, you may as well do it and call like the Jay Briscoe Cup or some shit like that.
Right. You can do that.
Renee or the Briscoe's Cup, you can't leave one of them out. Like, that'd be fucked up. That would be fucked up.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah. He won all them tag teams with all them tag team titles with his brother, but he's gone, so we only gonna memorialize him. Yo, alive ass, we don't give a fuck about. Like, damn, that's rough. That's tough.
Damn. So Renee had a sit down with Adam Cole, who was overly happy for some reason, couldn't be happier to be back on the road. I really hope they don't just turn him heel. Because it's like, I think y'all should try this, and I feel like Adam Cole needs something different.
I got the vibe that Jay White was coming to beat his ass. That's what I was concerned. That's when I was like, hey, he's coming to AEW, because like Jay White has often is rarely, if ever, done anything that like I wanted him to do in pro wrestling. I don't want him in AEW, so of course he's coming to AEW. That's my luck.
I mean, I'm not plugged into any. I've heard people mention that, like it's just this thing, but I'm like, I don't know what that's based on. So,
the Bullet Club stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see if that happens. We'll keep our eye on it. MJF made his entrance, and this was a pretty good night for MJF. He's Jekyll and Hyde right now. I feel like he's yeah. He gave us a lot of memeable material. He had a memorable commercial break that was captured on video where he's just cussing up a storm, giving everything to the crowd, getting all the heat. He basically said it wasn't long ago, the fans who worship Bryan Danielson, they were previously devil worshippers. He turned his back on them before they could turn their back on him. Just like the crowd, Danielson's trash and convince the crowd that he's better than MJF. The only way that you're the best is when you're holding the world belt, not having 5-star matches. He's the best wrestler in the world. Danielson doesn't have the balls. Blah, blah, blah. Calls out Christopher Daniels. Christopher Daniels comes out, still selling the eye, by the way. Young Bucks beat the shit out of that man. And he basically said, Danielson has looked up to him, or he's looked up to Danielson his whole career. MJF had basically paid Daniels to basically disparage him. He basically set it up like, I want Daniels to tell the truth about this guy. And then Daniels wouldn't do it, essentially.
Yeah, Daniels on the front end was like, hey, just to let y'all know, MJF paid me a whole lot of money to come out here and besmirch the good name of Bryan Danielson, and then he pulled out a bank envelope of money, and then he handed that shit to MJF. MJF quickly grabbed it and put it back in his pocket. He's like, fuck that, you don't want to. I'll take my money back. Yeah, that was great. I thought
my money don't spend here. Like, my money don't spend here,
right?
But yeah, like he basically he talks about a lot. He runs like a history dump exposition like about the King of the Indies tournament in like 2001, different stuff like that. This was all really good. It felt like I was listening to
Dave Meltzer talk about it again, because he does it like every 6 months.
He's someone who MJF wishes he was. He called MJF a fraud. MJF smacked the mic out of his hand, which was funny, gifable moment. Slapped MJF and then basically kicked him in the dick. MJF put him in the arm bar, and then Danielson came out the ring. MJF bailed. It's a good segment.
Yep.
Wasn't a home run or anything, but I thought
still
this
very
was
good.
Pretty effective.
Yes, and way better than that bullshit he did the week before. Like,
video package of the Gun celebrating their tag team title victory. They got a new catchphrase saying "Welcome to the Gun Show." Kind of like a little entertaining pre-tape here. So after that, we get Jack Perry taking on Brian Cage, and this I think should have been better because we saw them have a awesome match at Winter Is Coming, but they still did moves to each other, so this was cool. Jack gets the win on Cage.
Yeah.
Jack Perry.
You have to tell me what happened.
Gold.
Sorry,
I was saying he was signaling that he wants the gold still, but
yeah. And then Christian came out.
Yes, so Christian Cage comes out, and crowd pops kind of for him. Of course, Christian hasn't been seen maybe a month or two. Like they kind of got him out the way while he was teaming with Hook, and Christian basically suckers him in. Attacks him, takes off the sling, looks like he's ready.
Like he showed up with the sling on, so like it was almost like the heel version of like that Kevin Nash deal. But like he's like, I got the sling on, so he's like, I'm finna come whoop your ass. You weak, and he's like, I may be weak, but I got that fire on me, and that fire was fucking mace. And he put hot sauce all on that boy.
Yep. You need some milk to pour over Jack Perry's head.
Yeah,
Christian
to get his vision back. Take off the sling and show that I am healthy and that, yeah, I may have been healthy, but I still sprayed this boy.
Yep. Yep. So it kind of resuming their feud, and I think their match is going to be awesome.
Yes. And I need Christian on that mic to talk about, relations with his mom again. I need to see that because that shit is foul. But this shit is so entertaining. So
you gotta sit Mrs.
That.
Perry ringside, like you gotta do all that stuff. You gotta bring Christian's wife in if you're ex-wife, and if you're Jack Perry, you gotta sit her ringside. Like we doing this for you, Mrs. Former Cage. This can work both ways. But after that, they informed us at Revolution the Guns are going to defend their titles against 2 teams. They're doing the 2 Battle Royal deal like they did last year. So they're going to have the Casino Battle Royal and then, the traditional tag team Battle Royal this week. Following week's Casino one. And the Acclaim had showed in, said they were screwed. They're making us a 4-way tag. I don't know why you want to get your rematch in a 4-way. I don't know how we're doing rematches like that, because that's not been something that they've necessarily done for the titles too often.
Every blue moon, they'll talk about a rematch clause. Every blue moon.
So I think they should stop that shit, personally. But I know Aussie Open is in one of these battle royals.
Yes,
I don't think they're going to win though, because I think there's different bookings that are conflicting. So one can hope that they would win. But as far as the setups for the tag teams, I think this is going to be a good barometer to see where the tag team division is at. If they're going to bring FTR off the bench, if they're going to have Aussie Open, how far they're going to push them in. Top Flight's been getting a lot of focus of late. Are there any plans to go heat those guys up? Are there any wild card teams they throw in? We will see. After that, they had the Elite backstage with Don Callis and Michael Nakazawa. They had basketballs. They were talking about NBA All-Star Weekend. And they said something, and it was, I forgot what it was, but it was like, hold on, that doesn't quite make sense. But AR Fox and Top Flight basically showed up. They wanted a rematch. They had basketballs as well. They wanted to run it back on Rampage. Cal said no. Dante said, y'all don't got the balls. So Kenny stepped in and was like, nah, let's do it. And then they somehow Brandon Cutler got hit in the balls with the basketball. And they announced a trios title match for Rampage. That match ended up being a pretty fun kind of comedy match. I don't think it was on the level of their last match, but it was very entertaining. I'll say that. And the match featured the use of basketballs, so that was pretty funny. They did a tip-off spot, I believe, and they were throwing the ball at each other as well. So this was goofiness, but in a good way.
Great optics. Look, how can they want to play basketball with the black guys?
I mean, to be fair, the Elite, these are well-established basketball players in AEW canon. We've seen the handle of Kenny Omega. We've seen the handle of Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, the trick shottery.
Cool.
We've seen this.
Why are you running from my question? Why are you running from my question? I didn't ask you that shit. Why do you want to slap fives on the black hand side with these niggas? What's going on?
Maybe they got the Larry Bird mentality. Maybe they offended if anybody white guards them.
Oh man.
The Larry Bird, Julian Maskell, mindset, offended.
I'm not going nowhere with you. I'm not indulging into that. I'm leaving that alone.
The Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Robbins philosophy.
Oh my god.
But after that, we got Hangman Page versus Kip Sabian, and man, Kip useless, man. This is just match, quick win for Hangman to kind of set up this segment. I was looking for Kip to show me something, and did you see anything, James? Did I miss anything?
I mean, I saw a guy that could do really well in like an Adam Lambert lookalike contest, but that's really about it.
I don't even know who that is.
Adam Lambert's a singer.
Got you.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like Mike saying, put Kip on ROH. You can't just dump people to ROH.
What do you want to see him do in ROH? You want to have a Pure Rules match? No, seriously. I want you to look at me when I say this to you. What? He's a fine wrestler, and that's it. But if you want to, but you can't like use that dude as somebody that matters on a program. If you put no, you can't put him in the ROH heavyweight title scene. You can't put him in the Pure Rules title scene. You can't do none with him. We don't even know what they do in the tag titles. What is there? What is there?
You team Mark Briscoe.
Don't you think that Mark Briscoe has suffered enough this year?
God damn it.
Don't you? No. Why would you do this to him?
You're right. After the match, Moxley and Claudio came out with Wheeler Yuta. I have figured out Wheeler Yuta's new character, and this kind of felt like it on Rampage. Like, it's like, all right, imagine like a group of actual cool people or cool, tough people, right? That adopt like, this young kid coming up that's, maybe a little shy to himself, whatever. He's like, nah, man, you with us.
Uh-huh.
And then like, it don't quite fit because he's trying to overcompensate.
Okay.
That's what Wheeler Yuta's doing. He's like, and he turns kind of into like a snot-nosed kind of punk, and it's like, oh, bro, like you don't get the principles of why these dudes are acting tough like this. You just projected the outward image, but you coming off kind of asshole-ish. If you see what he did on Rampage, it was just like, oh, I hope are all these niggas turning because if they all acting like Wheeler Yuta, like Wheeler Yuta's like off on a fucking island somewhere.
So. This is a double entendre for you, Rich. I'm not gonna fill you in. I'm just gonna laugh and move on. So, is he an honorary Oos?
A little bit different.
Right. A little bit different.
Because
I just want to move on from there.
Because Wheeler's like I don't think Sammy was trying to be like them necessarily.
But I'm not necessarily talking about Sammy.
Oh man. I'm gonna just move on. Moxley said Paige thinks they have unfinished business, but they don't. Moxley beat him weeks ago. Moxley has respect for Paige. Has his number. There's no chance in hell Paige is going to beat him again. To me, this was a siren that Paige is going to win the pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
He doesn't think Moxley's satisfied with how it ended. He did the roll-up. And then, Paige thinks the end of this stands with only one of them left standing at Revolution. Moxley basically said he hoped he would say that, and he doesn't have any friends here to talk him out of it. Heyman started looking around, noticed he was by himself in there. Dark Order came out, crickets. And Evil Uno basically said, that David had his back. Evil Uno was actually pretty good here.
Yes.
Said he had his back through thick and thin. Paige was like, nah, man, I told y'all to leave me alone.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like, hey, bro, don't come out here. They'll beat y'all asses. That's really what it was. He was like, bro, I appreciate it, but you barking up the wrong tree because if this tree fall on you, I can't save you. You just gonna die underneath the weight of this tree and the branches and the leaves and the stems and the sticks.
Uno gave Moxley a pie face. He said he's not afraid of him. Moxley just looked past him, was didn't take him serious at all.
Did this dude just did this?
He said Texas Death Match, and he rolled out the ring. So they set up a Texas Death Match. I think a lot of us kind of figured that's where it was going. Yeah, I've really liked this feud a lot. There was a good pre-tape Evil Uno did, probably like a 20-second promo that was pretty good on Moxley. So he said he's going to basically, he invoked Brody Lee's name, said, I'm going to show you why I was the number one selection, and they got a match next week, which I'm sure Moxley's going to beat the shit out of him. So will Moxley bleed in that match?
No. Like, there will be blood, but it won't be his. It's finna get risen and be some real lucha tings in that ring. Like, that man's gonna be bleeding through that mask.
So we had Shivani backstage with Jazz. Jericho said Ricky Starks ain't getting no rematch. He's not on Jericho's level. Full Jerichoism here. Daniel Garcia said this isn't Starks' time. He's going to expose him as an absolute fraud. And, they set up a match for Friday, and Starks ended up beating Garcia. It was pretty good. Shivani was backstage with Paige, Cassidy, Matt Hardy, injured Stokely Hathaway, and this is probably the funniest thing I've seen Stokely do on television. He has a fucking beret on, and he was demanding Hook to be suspended. And then Hooks is suspended. I don't know what the storyline is. Said the info is ridiculous. There's an investigation. So I saw a joke on Twitter that said those AEW investigations take a while sometimes. So we might not see Hook for a while. After that, we got this main event. Ruby Soho taking on Toni Storm and Dr. Britt Baker.
Now, at what point was the crowd dead while we've gone through this whole entire show up to the main event? What point for you did you realize the crowd had died?
Probably during the Jungle Boy and Brian Cage match.
Okay. I think it's about around there for me too.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was like they got their head slapped and they realized, they were like, and then, but they set up a good Rampage for him, and ironic, and weirdly, the crowd woke up for Rampage, and it was like, it wasn't just sweetening. Like, it was like, these people were like into this shit, and they had 3 big matches on Rampage. So, I don't know. Actually, I know why they did it, because Rampage was at 7. They had the All-Star game directly after it, Friday night shit. So they tried to load that one up. But, back to this main event, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm and Dr. Britt Baker. Brother. I assume this is the match they were trying to do a couple weeks ago, but couldn't because Britt was injured. I don't know what they were going for. I do not think this resonated. This storyline is, I think it needs better people to execute it as far as the heels. I think Tony's just fine. Saraya, not so much. I feel like she has not contributed anything to the company positively so far. I don't think there's any thing that was like, people were like, yeah, that was awesome. If so, feel free to point me to it. But the spray paint on the ass is an all-time low moment in the history of AEW. Like, the spray paint on the ass to brand the L. Funny concept, right? But in execution, no. It just...
the paint needing to get on the pants in a visible way to actually transfer via ass planting. Yeah. Like, it may, like, if this were a cartoon and and the cartoon character does that to the butt of the joke bad guy in the comic, in the cartoon, it'd be fucking hilarious. But this is real life. They're just acting like cartoons.
Yeah. I don't know what the creative was on that. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish.
Okay, so now they have tried, and I don't necessarily blame Britt for this. It was a talking point that people have made throughout the time. Like, even the Acclaim was doing this when it was Swerve in Our Glory of the at WWEers coming into AEW stuff, right? And they were, she pointed that stuff out with the Saraya stuff. Saraya then brought up stuff about I'm a bigger star than you and blah, 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 blah. And then somehow Toni Storm got brought into this, and now she's a heel with this too. I think they overvalue that people really don't give a fuck about this stuff. And they don't care about the Saraya stuff because the Saraya stuff with Britt stunk.
I just don't think Saraya can play the role. I just don't think she can play the role.
Who can play the role from WWE? Who's AEW that was in AEW or that was in WWE that can play that role right now? Maybe Athena, maybe because
but she can't talk either.
Shit out of people.
Yeah, she can't really talk either. But I don't know. Maybe she doesn't need to talk.
But the thing is, she got over because she starts stiffing people.
Right. I feel like this division is a tale of two styles right now. It's like the Jamie Hayter section and people that can wrestle her and make that shit compelling. And then there's like the Britt Jade kind of side where it's like, and then there's the Joshi kind of like doing their own thing. But I think this would work if someone other than Saraya was being cast as the big bad in all this.
I don't think this would work if Mercedes was in it. I don't think people care. Like when you do the We Are AEW Originals thing and then you think about what that actually means and then you're talking about Jamie Hayter who came in late compared to, Britt, it's like, I guess. But maybe it's my opinion because I'm like, all these people come from different places originally. I don't know, like, it just doesn't work for me. I personally thought, like, for me, that you mentioned the spray painting of the L on the ass was like funny for me as far as like the idea of it. The execution stunk, but like I like the idea of it. But like as far as like that's not going to get them heat for spraying L's on geeks,
right?
And then
it's very like beautiful people, like mean girls, like
I mean, if it wasn't involving this storyline in a different thing where they were just like just branding losers on people, L's on people, sure. It's sophomore, it gets over, right? But I just think that like nobody wants to see anything involving Britt Baker and Saraya. And like, unfortunately, Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter have been dragged into this thing. And like, the sooner Jamie can get away from this, or just flat out they can just do the Jamie Britt split, the better.
Ruby.
That's what I think is actual money in the division at this point. Is like a Jamie Britt feud, and all this shit's in the way.
So Ruby did get the win.
Yes. And she's still like, I want nothing to do with either one because I hate you, Britt, and I'm not a sucker that's turning on people in the locker room. She's a good person that like rightfully doesn't like Britt because Britt's an asshole, and then like she's cool with the rest of people in the locker room. She's not turning her back on even though she's from WWE. Yeah. She's the actual, like, reasonable person in this whole thing. She's caught in the middle because these two, Saraya and Britt, are forcing her to be in the middle for now. Yeah.
So she's signaling like she is going for the title. She could be the pay-per-view match for all we know.
That's what I was thinking too when she won.
Like Jamie and Ruby, and then something happens from there, I feel like. But I feel like Saraya is like the most uninteresting part of this because like I don't think she's over in the least. It's kind of it's I don't even know what to say, like, as far as like, because like
I diffuse DOA, like this program's DOA, no matter like whatever happens to it, like unless they somehow manage to put together some great match, and like it seems like nothing to it. And it also feels like the way this is going and the way they want to continue, like they want this thing to be an actual, like, real deal thing. Like I remember, maybe like a month ago, someone was talking about like, could they do Women's Blood and Guts? And I'm like, with this shit, I hope the fuck not.
Bro. No, like I think the things that can help this is like, I think you got to get Jade, you got to break the Jade glass door and put her in this and be like, yo, I'm part of AEW too. Like, and be like, we ain't never ever crossed paths. So it's like she's just she's a chaos agent at that point. Like she's in there as like a different kind of thing. It's like finally, oh, you mixing her with everybody else, and I think that can make it more interesting.
It can make it more interesting.
Where's Nyla? Like, I think Nyla might have something to say here. Where's Hikaru Shida? You know, let's, like, if you're gonna roll it out, like, and maybe it's taking them, you know, because they're not gonna get that much time every week,
right?
Like, by the time they roll all this shit out, right? Like, by the time they roll all this shit out and introduce all the people, it's like it's gonna take longer to do it. But it's like these steps in getting to wherever they're getting. Some of this has been brutal. Some of it has worked, like the LA Tag Team match. I thought was awesome. I thought they were over in that, and this was not that.
Britt has to be on a pay-per-view, so, like, what do you think happens? What do you think she does? Do you think they deal with a tag match instead of like a return tag match, like a rematch, instead of like having her defend?
You know,
because I don't think Ruby is like a big enough thing to where people are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that match necessarily. Because it's like Ruby ain't exactly in there hidden like Jamie's in there hidden when it comes to a match, as far as like being physical and that kind of stuff. Like, if you want, like, I feel like if you're gonna put Jamie in a fence, like, you need to put her with someone that's gonna go out there and try to have a physical match with her.
Yeah,
because can they call up Beth Phoenix and see if they can pry her free? I would like to see that match.
As far as Britt, can't think where she fits. I think the thing might be that that Danielson and MJF have that hour match and it's going to eat up so much time.
Yeah.
So they may be
able to. It's not a half hour. It's an hour.
It's an hour. The whole thing's been set up as an hour, 60-minute. You can't fuck with me thing. So yeah.
So that's 70 minutes basically. That's 70
entrances and shit. So like
video, well, actually maybe 75, like video package, entrances, post match, sign off. Yeah.
I mean, that was about as long as the Roman Reigns match. So,
75 minutes, bitch.
Including the entrance and the stare downs and the talking, the post match angle, but it'll just be the match.
I think you're confusing what a match, the length of a match, and what it feels like. I think you're confusing those two. Yeah.
Tell you, when I sat down, bro, it was just like I felt like the rest, even though they were playing the the ref bumps, they were playing the video packages and the commercials and shit. I didn't really get bothered by all that because I was paying attention to the All-Star weekend too. But when that match started, it was like, oh, time has stopped.
It was the worst match on the show, Rich. So I see why you feel that way.
One more thing from Rampage. Dustin Rhodes versus Swerve Strickland. This match, I thought, was awesome. And they did the yearly DQ in this match to where Dustin had Swerve beat at the end. But before that, these guys were in there working. And they were like Swerve was looking like, yo, he's been waiting to get in the ring to kind of do something to this level for quite a while. Cause he had been booked against Brian Pillman, but he wasn't going to get the same kind of opportunity we would get with Dustin. They got the main event. I think they got 20 minutes too, if I'm not mistaken. And this was Dustin was working. He got bust open, but it was good the way he got bust open. And then the end. It
wasn't intended. Is it that way?
Nah, it was intentional. Okay. Dustin was on the outside of the ring near the new. His head was on the ground. He's kind of on all fours near the new barricades. Swerve basically ran the entire length of the ring, hit him with a drop kick into the barricade. So it was and that should look great. So he came up.
Quick question. Why do the AEW new barricades look like they just want to be like the LED Raw or WWE barricades?
I don't know. They look hard though.
They do look hard, but they get that feel like if they really want them to actually look similar to that, WWE look, and also with the stage now, whatever. So I don't care or whatever else, but people it's worth noting that like they've gone to the primary colors of red and blue and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah. All right, but back to Dustin and Cody. Dustin and
definitely not Cody. But yeah, like this was awesome. I thought this was a big kind of match for Swerve here, and I think that going out of this with that DQ, Parker got involved, pulled Dustin out the ring, attacked him, and that was like, you know, the end of the match or whatever. They bring Dustin in, kick the shit out of him. Swerve's gonna basically pull out the brick again to put it on Dustin's ass. They had Dustin's head laid on the steel steps in the ring. He was gonna jump off the top rope. Keith Lee's music hits. They look at the stage, but Keith Lee kind of rises up behind them because he comes in behind them. Keith Lee has the all gray hair with no beard, looks very different, and basically runs him off. There's physicality with him and Parker. And Parker, like, Keith Lee is going to set up Swerve for like the kill shot, no pun intended. But Parker sacrifices himself to take the hit for Swerve. So, you know, Swerve got these white men jumping in front of him to take these whoopings and beatings. So, there was no Trench this week because Trench had been taken out, but we didn't know.
That's his name? Trench
is his name. They gave him a name.
Okay.
So Trench had been taken out by Keith Lee. We didn't find out kind of until Keith Lee like returned. Because Swerve was like, I don't know where Trench is, like before the match. And this is a good piece of work. They could probably go into a tag match with Parker and Swerve against Dustin and Keith Lee. Of course, you know, the connection between Dusty Rhodes and Keith Lee as well. He came to Dustin's aid, helped him up, and he was all bleeding and shit. So they rolled this over. I would have liked the clean finish personally, but this, you know, they use DQs like once a year. If you're gonna burn one to get some heat for Swerve, and I think it's okay.
All right.
So besides that, I don't have any other new stuff on the format sheet. Besides that, yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it. Make sure y'all buy my goddamn album. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm kidding.
You want to give them? The link is in the description on the show notes.
But y'all know where it's at, where it say Dream Machine on it. Like, you ain't got to be confused about what it is. You can click that, and then you can read like you know what your funds are going into. So like, yeah, fuck with your boy.
So yeah, if you go to the show notes, in show description in the podcast notes, you'll also see next to the link to the Pay Help Dude for his a new album. You also see the YouTube link to his new video.
Yeah, that's right. Did that too.
Yeah. And that's in the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate somewhere app you're using to listen to this with. Check out the other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Gorman Watch This Shit, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Gorman Watch This Shit. I'll say it again, both times. Should I do it again like Mike Jones? Or no, just move on.
Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all want me.
I said, anyway, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Get in the Ring, Great Match Generator, and Meet the Press Slam. Also, if you're watching, you'll see the links to the Cash App and the PayPal. Go there, drop yourself donations there. In the podcast, you have the descriptions and show notes, and you can go and find our website from there and donate there. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.